Good morning, Raptor freaks. Lexi out here, and it is Monday morning, and the Raptor season is over. Seems like it was just yesterday when we were starting up the preseason. Monique Lawrence and I were giddy because we had Raptors basketball back, and now it's gone again. Well, at least we have the tempo this summer. At least we have another team to get excited about with basketball in Canada. Toronto tempo starting, but yeah, it ended yesterday. The pattern stayed true. The home team won every game in this series. And well, that's part of the lesson is that next year, Raptors, you have to have a better record so you have the home court advantage in the first round. That was something I was saying earlier this season. It's like, man, Raptors should get home court advantage, get home court advantage. Well, fifth seed, just off of home court advantage. So close. So close. Yeah, this game was kind of a shit show. But not because of the Raptors, not because of how they played, not because of what they did in some ways. I mean, they did not get the keys to the victory. The rebounds were awful. I mean, I don't know. I think that's just something that Kenny Atkinson and the Cavs really keyed on and said, we'll beat them if we absolutely out rebound them. And with Jared Allen out there dominating the boards like he did last night, that was a key thing right there. And then the other thing was, they missed some free throws in the middle there, and that hurt momentum and hurt kind of vibes coming up back at them. But let's not get it twisted. After halftime, there was a ref hit job right after coming back in the third quarter. It coincided with the Raptors not being so on point with their game, but Zach Zarba and his crew absolutely made a decision that at this point, this is where Cleveland takes off in the game and starts winning, and they're going to win this series now. Yeah. And that's NBA mandated. There's clips going around on social media right now of old players talking about the entertainment aspect of the NBA and how script writing in the NBA pertains to entertainment and, asking things like, well, who would you rather see in the next round or this or that? And it feeds into itself. That's the insidious thing about it because they train everybody not to care about Toronto because they don't show us, they don't cover us. And then they say, well, they don't deserve it. Well, we were the fifth best team in the East this year. And we were in the top four for a good chunk of this year, too. And y'all ignored us the whole year anyway. It's like, so you can get that chicken before the egg thing. It's going to say, oh, well, we ignored y'all. Well, y'all aren't worth paying attention to, but nobody watches us. Well, nobody watches you. Then why do we let you get further in playoffs? Because we don't want you to, because we gatekeep you from being watched. And then there's nobody that's demanding to want to see you. And then we're worried about ratings. We're worried about money and all this bullshit. And we're going to hold you down. So it's kind of like it feeds itself. It's so kind of full of shit, honestly. If the NBA was a true contest that was equal playing field right across, it wouldn't matter that our team played for another country. That's the thing to say right here. And for whatever weird tainted reasons, whether it's xenophobia, whether it's economics and not wanting to help the GDP of Canada, whether it's they have their own thing. It's called NBA Canada, and they can make all their money and be a separate kind of entity because they're in Canada. It's all bullshit. And Adam Silver, until you understand that you feed this bullshit, your league is never going to be completely fair. It's never going to be. That's what they say in those clips. You got to win by 15 to win by 1 because there's a league mandated script that they want to write. And if you really want to go off script, you got to be so good that you go 15 lead just to get a 1-point win. That's just how it is. And our team has known that in the past. Our team knew that in 2019, and they did that against that in 2019. That's the travesty of people sullying that championship is that they don't understand just how much more we have to go through than the average NBA team to get to any success. So the mandated hit job, Zach Zarba, yeah, you put it in at the beginning of the third quarter. You weren't even that covering up of it. It was very apparent. Every single weird call, foul call against the Raptors in all kinds of ways. Y'all tried to hit them in the beginning of the game with crazy foul trouble right off the start. The Cavs were in the bonus with 6 minutes to go in the first quarter. That's a ref hit job right from the start. But the crazy thing was we were still winning because we're badasses and we can go above and beyond and go past that. It's like, yeah, we'll deal with the first ref hit job. It's basically put the Cavs on the line over and over again, over and over again, over and over again, get them in the bonus, manufacture easy points for them from free throws just to keep up. Don't let the Raptors take off on them. Don't let Scotty get so aggressive as the number one superstar, the best player in this series, according to Reggie Miller, go off and take over the game early and just get in the wrong direction like Philly did to Boston the night before. And we were doing that right. That was part of the game plan. Keep the crowd out of the game, have the lead, beat their ass so we don't have to hear their sorry ass USA chants. Yeah, that's the thing, Scott. That's the lesson there. You guys want to kick the other team's ass, keep them quiet and kick their ass. But I know it's tough when it's 8 versus 5. Not even 8 versus 5. It's association versus 5. It's association versus 5 because the script isn't supposed to be Toronto, Detroit border series, even though that's a fantastic story, Adam Silver. If you wanted to have a Detroit Toronto border series, that would have been a fantastic series. But no, you'd rather have the classic Central Division Cleveland versus Detroit series. That's kind of boring, more boring to me. But I am a Raptors fan. But I would say to a lot of people around the NBA, that's kind of boring to them too. That's kind of the most misdirected thing about it is like you think the Raptors, you do think that nobody wants to watch the Raptors. No, the Raptors are like that club that's exclusive that nobody gets to watch because they don't let you watch it. But when you get a glimpse of it, you see how fantastic it is. And you're like, why don't we see this more? That's what they are. Why don't we see Scotty Barnes play more on TV in the United States? Gatekeeping is bullshit. And it's unjustified omissions. That's why every year when they come out with a national TV schedule and the Raptors don't have a game, well, it's not warranted. It's not warranted. And Charles Barkley is right when he calls out people on ESPN saying, well, we don't show them. That's why nobody knows about them. It's messed up. And it feeds the thing in the end that says, well, nobody wants to see them. Why? How do you know? You don't let them see them. How do you know that nobody wants to see them? You just assume Americans don't want to watch the Toronto Raptors? You just assume that? How the fuck do you know whether the American people want to watch good basketball or not? You know, I think people like Colin Murray-Boyles. I think people like Scotty Barnes. I think people like Jamal Shed and RJ Barrett. You know, I've seen a lot of people in general NBA fan spaces saying, man, I got so much respect for the Raptors right now. You earned some new fans in me. You guys are awesome. How come I didn't know about y'all? Well, you can blame ESPN. You can blame Adam Silver. You can blame Peacock. You can blame Amazon. You can blame all the fucking motherfuckers that broadcast the NBA that don't have the Raptors on. And whoever's dumbass decision of that is, you can blame all them. And it perpetuates itself into itself to say, well, nobody wants to watch y'all. Wait, how do you know? You never showed them to them. You know, what is this bullshit? What is this gatekeeping, broadcasting bullshit that feeds itself? And then in the end, you say, well, we got to write the storylines on the down low behind the scenes. And well, nobody's going to want to watch the Raptors play later. Well, how do you fucking know? Because you never, ever put them on blast or show them all season long. And then finally, they're in the playoffs. You have to show them. And everybody sees the truth. I'm sick of this shit. No other franchise in this league deals with this like us. Some of them do deal with something similar, like the Milwaukee Bucks and some of these other teams that are in smaller markets that the NBA doesn't really do nice things for in the stateside. But it's different when you're a Canadian team. And then you got that added bonus of nationalistic ugliness, like these idiots at the game last night chanting USA. How can you be proud of your country right now, you idiots? How can you be chanting USA over and over again unless you're a dumbass like Trump that thinks that what's going on there is great? No, it's not. No, it's not. It's horrific and it's messed up. And y'all are criminals because your boss is a criminal. The guy at the top is a criminal. Everybody else in the government is a criminal now because he replaced everybody with criminals. And they're acting like a terrorist state, attacking countries for no good reason. How can you be proud of that country and cheer USA over and over again? Yeah, must be lead pipes in Ohio. Must be the northern bastion of the KKK racist ass motherfuckers in Ohio. That's what it must be. You know, that's my least favorite state in the United States, Ohio. Yeah, I hate Ohio. Every time I drive through Ohio coming from Canada to Florida, I'm like, this place sucks. Let's just keep driving. I don't want to stop to go to the bathroom. I'll hold it. Yeah. I'll do that shit with that country. I mean, that state. I'm like, no, I don't want nothing to do with Ohio because it seriously is an inbred, sorry ass state full of racists and assholes. And, they'll call them the salt of the earth, more like the mutants of the earth because they've been degraded through their cellular bodies because of environmental waste and lead in their pipes and no oversight on, contamination and all kinds of stuff, like that train spill that happened a couple years ago. Yeah, there's no regulation with things, and people there are mutated, and they're a little bit off on their chromosomes because of environmental degradation of chemicals and big companies ruining the air, the soil, and the water for those people. And they take it in, and their brain cells are less, and they have weird genetics. Let's just put it that way. That's the truth. Nothing I just said is just embellishment. It's not embellishment. This is all true about the state of Ohio. And well, you go ahead and cheer USA, USA, while your dumbass criminal in chief is posting AI images all night of him in crazy ass weird situations like a child, like a 12-year-old, like an infant, like an idiot. You go ahead and be proud of all that. I'm proud of my guys. I'm proud of my team. I'm proud of their journey. I'm proud of what they accomplished this year. I'm proud of them going beyond expectations. I'm proud of them showing that they have so much promise for the future. And that's what I'll ride with today. It's fine. Y'all go to the next round. In some ways, these young men deserve a break at this point, even though they didn't want a break. They deserve a break at this point because it's been a long season. It's been a fantastic season, and they have learned so much from this season. So much from these last couple weeks in this playoff round of the first round. So much. The mental leveling up of Jamal Shedd and Jacoby Walter and Colin Murray-Boyles is going to be worth so much from this playoff series. Alas, NBA script writing has to happen. The game that we should have won was number 2. Number 2 was the game we fumbled. We absolutely had that game right in front of us, and we win that game. Well, this series is completely different. I could also talk about a man named Quickly, who should have been involved in this series in any kind of way. That would have been a huge plus. And well, losing your number 1 option for the whole entire year in the middle of the season, in the middle of the series, that doesn't help either. So yeah, you go ahead. You guys, that's a hollow victory, Cavs Nation. If you think you're all high and mighty, you're going to talk some shit. You don't have any reason to talk shit because you had 2 Hall of Famers, a full roster with no injuries, and it took y'all 7 games to beat the team that everybody else is saying you should have swept, a team that had 2 of its starters out from a good chunk of the series. Yeah, go ahead and feel proud of that. Y'all just barely got by us. And well, I don't think you guys have much legs to go much further. So yeah, it is what it is. And I'm proud of my team. I'm proud of Scotty. I'm proud of RJ. I'm proud of Colin. I'm proud of this team. I'm proud of Darko. Yeah, we got the stars of the game. We got the straight goods on Canadian goods. We got the Raptors Red of the day. We got all this stuff. And we will start to shift some gears here and put another hat on. That's right. We'll put another hat on. Well, since the Raptors lost yesterday, we're going to be doing Tuesday trivia tomorrow. Programming note. I hope you'll join me tomorrow 9:30 a.m. on the Raptor Freak channel. Yeah, season's over, but not for this guy. 365 days a year, every morning for almost 5 years straight. That's right. We keep going because we've got more basketball to talk about. We've got Toronto Tempo summer. We've got Team Canada basketball later this summer. And of course, all the off-season stuff for the Toronto Raptors with the draft and the summer league and the training camp that'll come so soon. Don't blink. Yeah, but we want summer first here in Canada. That's right. That's the trade-off for me in my life. Either I get bad weather in the Raptors or good weather and no Raptors. That's the trade-off for me. Now it's nice out. It's time to hit the yard and do as much work in permaculture as I can and watch some Toronto Tempo WNBA action. That's right. There you go. There's my little spiel at the beginning. In some ways, that's my synopsis. I'm sure y'all could flesh it out more with your own observations and comments, and I welcome you to add them into my chat Thank you for subscribing. And we did used to do a little thing on this channel with this. And if you really, really have a burning desire and you know the number, you can call me too. Because I'd like to hear in person, in your voice, how you feel about our team this year. Because I feel like they deserve to hear the gratitude. That's what I'm saying right there. That's right. Trevor J is in the house. The commissioner of fun, Trevor J, has got this going on here right now. Should I leave the hat on just to signify we're on this mode now? This is what he's saying. Woke up this morning. Okay, Sopranos. Woke up this morning with nothing but gratitude in our hearts. God didn't have to wake us up, but he did. And for that, I'm thankful. Another day, another chance at life, another blessing to live. Yeah. Now, this is always the best basic words of wisdom is gratitude in the morning, gratitude to see another day, gratitude for the things that are good in your life. Toronto Raptors basketball, great weather, the beauty of nature, the fellowship of friends and family and time spent with them. There's so much to be grateful for. If you can't find it, search a little harder. When you find that little bit of thing to feel grateful for, it expands. And you'll find more things to be grateful for. Thank you for the words of wisdom, Trevor J. Blessings to the Jones family and all the Raptor Freak families. That's right. That's right. Trevor's saying this. We have to be so proud of this team, down to 2 starters and still taking Cleveland to 7 games. All right, let's review. Let's go back to the beginning of the year. Let's go back to October. And let's think about the prognostications, the experts' prognostications, my prognostications, your prognostications. And well, we were right. They weren't. That's what we say right here. We were right. They weren't. I said they'd be a playoff team. They were a playoff team. I said that they would be one of the top Eastern teams. They were one of the top Eastern teams. Yeah. We even got 2 All-Stars this season. Brandon Ingram was brought back to All-Star level in his first year on the Toronto Raptors. That's an accomplishment in it. Of course, we saw the expanded growth of Scotty Barnes and leveling up and evolving to being more of an all-NBA level player. We've seen his defense get more confident and more aggressive. We've seen his offense get more polished and more practiced. Yeah, there's a lot to like about this team, a lot to love and a lot to appreciate, and we should be proud. We should be proud. Not every NBA team in their nations should be that proud right now. Seriously. But that's the reason why you do things the right way, like Jacoby Walter and Emmanuel Quickley. Because when you do things the right way, no matter the outcome, you can be proud at the end of it. But if you don't do things the right way, well, you shouldn't be proud. Orlando Magic and different teams like that. So, there's a lot of different teams that are out right now. But out of all the teams that went out in the first round, I think that the Raptors look the best. That's right. Celtics don't look good for what happened. Nuggets don't look good for what happened. Rockets don't look good for what happened. No. Suns, no, none of them. But the Raptors look good for what happened in the first round. And we can honestly say that. That's right. Trevor's saying James Harden battle ram Darko on a flop. What an asshole. I don't know if that was on purpose. James is a weird guy. He has a big beard, so he has a weird center of gravity. So maybe he's just a little top heavy because of his weird beard. And well, he did run into Darko, but gracefully Darko fell and he got back up. It's not a big deal. Sure, maybe it's symbolic. Sure, maybe there was something purposeful about it. But either way, nobody was hurt. And James did show the proper concern for our coach after the incident, coming over and checking on him and talking to him. I mean, it is dumb. There was a lot of petty shit from the Cavs in the game yesterday. They were very dirty. I know that Kenny Atkinson had part of his game plan was, guys, go all out, be dirty as hell. Dirty here, dirty there, dirty there. First half, tons of grabbing all over the place, especially on rebound positioning. That's part of the secret to why they rebounded so well. It's not just that Yak is ineffective, guys. Yak is getting held by people around him every single time the ball is coming off the rim. It's not that he's a horrible rebounder and that Jared Allen is so much better than him. No, these guys were cheating in the beginning of the game right away. And Zach Zarba and them, to their credit, they called some of them, but they couldn't call all of them. In some ways, that's the philosophy we have on defense is we're going to go aggressive, and yeah, we'll foul a lot, but they can't call all the fouls, right? This is a strategy employed by Nick Nurse and his teams, and he did it with us when he was here. And Darko does it here too. We got in a lot of foul trouble early because we were super aggressive. We were covering them up so good. Reggie Miller's saying on the broadcast, it's like the Raptors have 7 players out there, I mean, that was amazing. We were playing really good defense and covering people up in all kinds of different ways. And there is a certain level of aggression that will lead to getting foul calls put on you, but maybe not to the extent that we got right away in the first quarter, Zach Zarba. But yeah, meanwhile, we're getting called for all this crazy shit. And meanwhile, they're grabbing us and doing all kinds of crazy shit like headbutts and grabbing people's necks and all kinds of dirty shit from the Cavs in the game yesterday. Absolutely dirty what Max Strus did when he threw that headbutt at Scotty up the court. That was so dangerous. And if he had hurt Scott badly, thank God Scott's a tank. I would have been so pissed off. That would have been one of the most horrible, messed up plays in the history of the NBA if some player had gotten their jaw broken because of a headbutt on an up the court play that's absolutely on purpose and so dangerous. So dangerous. All right, here we go. We got our call. We got a call. Hey, all right. Hello, caller. You're on the Raptor Freak channel.
Hi, Raptor Season. How's it going?
Hello, it's MJ. It is Fiercey, y'all.
Hey, everyone. So, first of all, I want to thank the family for supporting the team. This season was not easy, but we defeated the odds. We were not supposed to be there, as per the so-called experts, but we made it. And I wrote it in the comments, but we forced the game 7. So I think all the game time that Jacoby and Jamal had last year, it really paid off this year. So that's why when we were saying be patient, and those opportunities they got, it definitely helped. And also to have the fact that they have a winning mentality, that also helped. Yeah. It's all about the culture. And I appreciate what RJ said, that we're building something special. And to me, it's a sign that they're not giving up. They know, they are aware there's hurdles and there's forces against us, but they're focused on building something. So it was sad to watch, but also comforting at the same time.
It's definitely true that like the experience that these guys got in this playoff is going to benefit them immensely going forward. Mm-hmm. In your comments on the culture and stuff like that, that is so important. It's so much is established and emanates from our coach. And I'd like to think that anybody who's on the fence about whether Darko's a good coach for us in the playoffs or not, maybe got some good evidence mm-hmm. that he can be a good coach in the playoffs. And
absolutely.
Yeah. And, it really is true that the future's bright. I didn't really find this myself personally. I didn't find this season that difficult. I felt like this season was a pleasure to cover and watch this year. And Fiercey, because you've been watching my channel for years, there's been some very tough years we've covered on this channel.
The past 2 years were tough. I agree. And the last year with Nick Nurse, the vibes were weird.
Yeah.
Remember in the pressers, Pascal, his vibe was off too when he was answering.
He
was off. It was a weird year.
Yeah, we've had like out of the years I've done this channel, because I started this channel when Scotty started in the league. We did the first year of Scotty with OG and Fred and all them and getting to the playoffs against Philly. And we covered that year. And that year was exciting. That year was fun. We had Scott and we got a playoff appearance. Then the next year was the play-in year, the last year of Nick Nurse with DeAndre DeRozan.
Yeah.
And that year was confusing because half the year we heard things about Earl Watson and Nick, and things were just weird on the team. The vibes, people were, like you said, Pascal was depressed in the interview. The writing was on the wall with certain people. They were going to be having to go, like Fred and Nick. And then the first year of Darko, difficult because it's a lot of losing, and you go through a major trade of 2 of your major players and Pascal and OG, bringing in RJ and Emmanuel. And then last year was like the transition rebuild, kind of still losing, not a playoff team
Yeah.
yet. And then this year.
Hmm.
So yeah, I thought that I this year was very rewarding
Oh
because
yeah.
in some ways, even though it's not the pinnacle, even though it's not, I'm not championship or bust like a lot of nephews and casuals in this in Raptors Nation. It's like I can take the progress as long as it's moving in the right direction, going up and up. I can ride through these kind of seasons, even if they're not the ultimate success of that trophy over my shoulder right there.
Yes.
So
Yeah. Absolutely.
yeah.
But to your point, that this year was a pleasure to watch their evolution. But for me, it was also this. This was the first year that I was kind of disengaged from social media in the sense that I followed the Raptors page,
Yeah.
but anything that had to do with Raptors content,
Yeah.
that you would see negative comments, and I would be like, "We're having a great season," but people still find ways to complain and to do those RJ trade things. So that I was completely disengaged from that side of the things.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's smart. You probably were able to enjoy the season way more because of that.
Oh yeah.
And
Absolutely.
that is the way to go. I mean, there is no reason why anybody has to pay attention to anything on social media. There's no rules that say that we've got to do this. Unfortunately, a lot of people are, grow up in this world as children, and it's just the world that they're always in. And it sucks because it really does add a whole other dimension of voices out there that you just don't need to hear, or they're not even really voices. They could be bots. They could be people that are totally misrepresenting themselves as who they truly are. There's all those levels to it. So I'm much like you, prune away all this stuff and only pay attention to the stuff that's essential for you to get the information that matters. That's why I say, all right, I'll follow Josh Lewinberg. I'll follow Michael Grange. I'll follow Blake Murphy. I'll follow Lindsey Dunn. I'll follow people that are actually with the team, interviewing them, and are journalists, and all these other people, even the journalists that are in the States. I don't listen to them because they don't know what they're talking about when it comes to the Raptors. As a Raptor freak and the person who's doing this show every morning, very well, because you've been watching a long time. I watch the games, and sometimes I put the volume down. I don't even listen to commentators. I just watch it with my own two eyes. I listen to the interviews of the players, the coaches, and the front office, and that's it. Everything else that's Raptors content, whether it's breakdowns by people on the channel, a channel like mine somewhere else, I don't watch any of that because it's like,
it's suggestive.
Yeah, I want the source material. I respect people like Oren Weisfeld and Samson Folk and different people like that from the press corps, and I think they do very good work. But also at the same time, I don't want to rip them off with my takes on this channel, so I don't pay any attention to them. If I say the same things as them, it's because we came to the same discovery and thinking. So
right.
And I think that that's a good, smart advice for anybody, especially us in our middle age and a little bit older, because it's stupid with AI and everything changing. It's more and more people going to be turned off from it, and more people will be putting shutters up and closing up on looking at all the extraneous shit that's out there and just really laser focusing on your content.
Oh,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And one more thing, two more things. So I'm getting ready to accept that this team will not be the same next season. And I've got those vibes yesterday watching the bench, and you know what? It's part of the course.
Yep.
It's changed. It's evolution.
Yep.
But for the team that we've had this year, I'm really happy and proud of them.
I would say this though. I would say, MJ, I would say this. I don't know if it's going to change drastically though. That's the thing. I think that what'll happen is there is an off chance that one of the main guys gets traded, but I don't think it's very high in some ways. I mean, and if it is somebody, well, I think I know who it would be, but I don't think it's RJ, is what I'm saying.
No.
And it's the bench. I said this a couple months ago. It's like the retool for the Raptors this year is not the starting five necessarily. It's strengthening the bench, getting more veteran kind of know-how on the bench, maybe more reliable three-point shooters, maybe a better scorer, a veteran scorer that knows how to do things in a certain way if we're in a pinch in some of our stagnation spots. And I would say, unfortunately, Sandro's going to have a price that goes up, and I don't know where it fits into our puzzle.
Oh, my
So
question to you, Lex, do you think his price has like gone down with his performance in the
no,
playoffs?
not
No?
at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
Oh,
And it's really because the value on his $2 million contract this year was ridiculous. And he can ask for a good price. And honestly, he's a young guy. He needs to do the best that he can. I talked about it with his friend Alessandro. And it's like, man, he's just got to get his bag. If it can line up where we can get him a reasonable amount that he'll take and he can stay here, I'd love to do that. But I
yes,
definitely do not want the Raptors to do an overpay just to keep him because they're scared. I definitely don't want
right,
that. That's
right.
that's the whole problem with that. Some people saying we need to keep Mamu no matter what. But I always think about the year that Bismack was on our team in relation to Sandro, because Bismack was on that team that went to the Eastern Conference like pretty far. Like they went far and they lost to LeBron. And Bismack was only on our team 1 year. He was on a very cheap contract also, and he made a name for himself on the Raptors. And he got paid like crazy in the summer by Orlando. And
Yeah.
if the Raptors had taken that contract on with Bismack at that time, we may not have the 2019 championship.
You're right. Yeah, yeah. Makes sense.
So it's kind of like that's the thing we got to think about with Sandro. Is in some ways this situation could be very similar to Biombo. And as much as we love Sandro, if we can line the money up, he's a great fit and he's been amazing for us. We know he loves being on this team, the culture and the city and everything like that. But it's really going to be in some ways up to Sandro. What matters, this or your
Right.
heart and staying in Toronto? Because, and I wouldn't fault him if he went the Fred way and took the bag.
No. I
Because,
wish him the best.
yeah,
Like it's his life. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So it's
And
tough.
one
It's
last thing,
tough.
Lex.
Yeah,
One last thing for me, at least
sure.
the fact that we're like kind of done for this season, it'll give me more time to focus on the tempo, because
Yeah,
I'm ashamed to say that I was not really in, because with all the games conflicting same
sure.
times, it was very difficult to cover both teams at
Of
the same time.
course.
So now I'll be able to focus more on the tempo, and now that's the only like a positive part for me now.
Yeah, I it's one of them for me. I found it very difficult and was annoying that the Raptors games for the playoffs were on the same nights of the preseason games for the tempo, because I really would have liked to have them staggered off each other so that I had a game each night. But in some ways, I still found the time to kind of pay one eye attention on the preseason tempo. But I would say this, Fiercey, you didn't miss a whole lot with the tempo, because in the first two games of the preseason, they really didn't play their main people at all. And it was
No,
really
only
a
in the
feeling
beginning.
out
Yeah,
thing for people that are just trying to make the team. And
exactly.
it really wasn't that good. If you don't mind staying on the phone with me, unless you have to go, I'd like to do a segment with you real quick, because
Yeah, sure.
I feel like you would
Sure.
enjoy doing this with me. So basically,
Yeah.
this is what it is. The ESPN power rankings for the WNBA have come out today. And I'll go over it real
Oh.
quick and you can tell me what you think. Of course, they think
Okay.
the Aces are the champs. They're number 1.
Yes.
That makes sense. Number 2 is the Liberty. Number 3 is that
Uh,
you don't know about Liberty because this changeover. Too many people
that they
leaving.
have Satu now, and
Yeah.
they still have Brianna and Jonquel, but Jonquel gets injured a lot. But not. Well, okay, could be 2. I would put them in the top 2, 3. Yeah, 2 or 3.
We got to figure that New York media kind of over importance is always going to kind of throw them up maybe
For
a spot
sure.
higher than they should be.
For
Maybe
sure.
Atlanta
For sure.
Dream with Angel Reese at number 3.
Yes, that's a good prediction.
Number
Because their coach was very good
Oh,
last year.
okay.
Also.
And I know they've got like
Benko,
more of
yeah.
a core of like 4 or 5 young women that are very strong at this point in
Oh,
Atlanta.
yes.
Yeah.
Ryan Howard, Alicia Gray, Angel Reese,
Canada.
Naz Hillman, and Jordan Canada as a backup piece. Yeah, they're very strong.
Don't forget
I
Canada.
would even put them ahead of the Liberty.
You would put the
Liberty, but
Dream
okay.
above the Liberty. Okay.
Mhm.
Fever at 4. I know that they've had some people leaving, and well, they still have Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham and different people like that. But yeah, they've got the Fever at 4. I'm going to try and move fast through some of these middle teams.
Yes.
Sparks at 5. I feel like they've been down a few years in a row, but they're kind of coming back up right now. Is that true? The Sparks?
Well, they lost Rikia Jackson, but they got Ariel Atkins, but yeah, not at 5. I would or Neka Wumike. Yes, okay, could be makes sense. Makes sense.
So it's about once again, it's a little bit of favor for the two major markets in the WNBA.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Dallas Wings at 6. This one's puzzling to me because I have a feeling the Wings are a little overrated here.
No,
No?
last year, even though they had Page and now they have AZ, but Arike, they're all like similar players. So I don't know. Dallas, I don't know.
I would say with Dallas, it depends on their relationship, right?
Exactly. The vibe from the team. Yeah.
Phoenix Mercury at 7.
Yeah, okay, yes.
Yeah. Number 8, Minnesota. I'm surprised they're so low. I guess because they've lost a lot of key players in the offseason.
They did, but they got nice pieces too. They'll be above 8. They'll be better than
the
8.
Miles rookie is very good, but I think
Very
they're also
good.
figuring in Collier being out half the season. So
Oh yeah, makes sense. Yes.
yeah. Then 9, Chicago Sky, which
Yeah, I would put them in the top 5 actually.
you think they're in the top 5, even with the
Yeah,
exodus
because they
and
have
all the
Skylar Diggins, Rakia Jackson,
Interesting.
Courtney Vandersloot. They have very good players. Very good pieces.
So they did a good reset after Angel and kind of like trying to start things next. Okay. All right. That's good information. They've got the Valkyries at number 10. You know what I'm going to predict with the Valkyries real quick, Fiercey, and you see if you think about this. I think the Valkyries will be just like a player, and they're going to have a sophomore slump.
Because they only have Burton now. Tammy is with us now.
Yep.
They have Kate Martin. They don't have that much players from the last year. They had like Monique Billings is gone too. She's in Indiana. So they'll have a sophomore slump. I agree with you.
They're replacing Billings and Temi with Kia Stokes from Las Vegas. That is their replacement.
But Kia Stokes, she had garbage minutes last year. She was not that impactful the past 2 years.
Right.
Unless now she becomes more.
Well, that's what they're saying in the write-up here. Is saying that they lost key bigs, and that may really hurt them. So, yeah. Number 11, Washington, who will play on Friday in the first ever Toronto Tempo regular season game.
They're good, but they have lots of rookies. So because of the experience on the team, they may not get more above 11, but they're very good.
So guess who's number 12?
Tempo?
Yeah. They put us at 12.
I think we'll do better than Valkyries and Washington for sure.
Oh, there you go. So we'll be, you're saying we'll be in the top 10 then.
I would say even maybe top 7.
Nice.
Because of Marina and Brittany.
I like that.
Brittany and Temi are very good.
They've got us. All right. So if we're at 12, they've got us above Connecticut, Seattle, and Portland. Those are the bottom 3 below us, according to them. Do you want to hear what they said about the Tempo real quick?
Yes, please.
All right. You're welcome. Let's see how last season ended. This is so dumb. The Tempo yeah, I know. It's like how last season ended. The Tempo preparing to launch their franchise in 2026 watched the inevitable coaching carousel as teams ended their seasons last year. New York parted with Sandy Brondello on September 23rd, even though she had led the franchise to its first championship in 11 months earlier. On October 22nd, ESPN reported that Toronto would hire Brondello, and the Tempo officially announced it November the 4th. In 13 seasons as a head coach with San Antonio, Phoenix, and New York, Brondello has 271 wins and 181 losses and has won 2 WNBA titles. Ooh-wee, I love that. That's how they say how our season ended. The biggest strength for the Tempo looked to have a solid guard group led by veterans Brittany Sykes, Marina Mabry, and Kia Nurse. They also selected Kiki Rice of UCLA with their number 6 pick. Yeah, I like that. Here's the biggest concern for ESPN. Among the Tempo's post players, only one has averaged double figures in scoring for a WNBA season, Isabel Harrison. There are big opportunities for Toronto's forwards and centers to step forward. So, yeah, I expect big things from Temi. I do myself.
And they're not even mentioning Sabali. Nyara Sabali is a good forward center also.
And they're also saying the thing we'll be talking about most this season, how Canada responds to having a WNBA team. It's exciting for the league to see a new market opening. And we're going to be in Montreal in 2 weeks, or, like, it's crazy. A week from this Friday, they're gonna be playing their first game in Montreal
Yeah.
against the Sparks. So that'll be pretty
We're
cool.
going on the July 10th or 12th in Montreal. I'm going to one of those 2 days also.
Awesome. Very, very cool.
Cool. So
Also,
the rankings are interesting, Lex, but some
yeah,
of them I'm not really in agreement. But
yeah.
overall, both.
I like that you think that the tempo could be as high as top 7. I like
Yes,
that.
yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
nice. All right, well,
Absolutely.
Fiercely, I don't want to hold up any more of your day. I'm glad
No,
that you could go over the WNBA power rankings with me a bit here.
thank you.
Yeah, yeah, and I hope you'll call me a
Happy
lot
Monday,
this summer.
Sam.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, give the
Bye.
best to Fiercey Jr. and all her
Will
endeavors this
do.
summer. And I hope that y'all are just blessed and happy and just have only good blessings and great things coming towards you guys all summer long.
Thank you so much, Lex. Appreciate
You're
it. Thank
welcome.
you.
All right,
Have a
MJ.
nice day. Bye,
Have a
everyone.
great Monday.
Bye.
All right, cool. All right, nice call with Fiercey on the phone this morning. And you know what? I'm going to be leaning on people like her and Trevor for WNBA stuff because they know their WNBA. Cool Cat, if you're around, I know you know your WNBA too. So yeah, there's a little bit more that they wrote here. Number to watch: playing time for center Temi. Last year with Golden State, Fagbenle appeared in the most games, 39, and averaged the most minutes in her 5 WNBA seasons. If Fagbenle, who has had a lot of experience overseas, remains healthy, she could be one of the key front court players for Toronto. Yeah, one bold, realistic prediction for the tempo is that Marina Mabrey, who shot a career low 27% from 3-point range last season, bounces back to shoot better than her career percentage of 35%. Yeah, what does a successful season look like for the Toronto Tempo? Well, the Valkyries surprised most observers by making the playoffs in their first season last year. An expansion team getting that far 2 years in a row seems unlikely. If the Tempo can stay in the playoff mix, at least into mid-August, that would be a successful debut, according to this ESPN writer right here. That's pretty cool right there. I like that. Yeah, so yeah, it's not a bad place to be. We're not bottom of it, right? We're number 12 out of 15. So they could easily put us where the Portland Fire are at 15 out of 15. But they got us above 3 other WNBA franchises, and we haven't even played our first regular season game. So we can't be upset about that. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Yeah, Trevor's saying we get to sit back and watch the Cavs get put out by the Pistons. I'm not so sure on that. I think that this matchup is pretty even. It could very well be like our matchup with the Cavs. It's determined by home court advantage, and that goes to Detroit. So we'll have to see. This matchup may be pretty even. Of course, Detroit and Cleveland are not far from each other. So there's maybe a lot of interstate travel for fans going to the other team's arena. So I suspect there was quite a few Raptors fans in Cleveland last night for Game 7. I was very, very happy to see that there was a good chunk of our people there. In fact, Josh Lundberg was saying before the game that there were more Raptors fans at Game 7 than the other games on the road in Cleveland in this series. So that's good. Good to see that a lot of people did make the trip to support the team. Yeah, let's see. G is here. Good morning, good game. Our original Raptor Freak trivia champion. G is awesome. And let's see what G is saying. Proud of them. Took the Cleveland highest payroll to Game 7 while 2 starters down. Yeah, I'm proud of them too. I'm proud of all of them. It's tough. This season, I could get down on Brandon. I could get down on Jakob. I could get down on different people like a lot of people are, but let's not do that. Well, let's be proud of the healthy season that Brandon Ingram put in this year and the turnaround in his career. Even if he wasn't able to participate at the end there, he did so much for us all season. We cannot forget that. Sometimes we become very Janet Jackson. And what have you done for me lately? And in some ways, that ain't right because the whole body of work for everything we did this year has an essential ingredient called Brandon Ingram. And I appreciate Brandon's work this year. I appreciate him staying healthy. I appreciate him assimilating more to Raptors culture and the way we do things up here. And well, I guess he had a little eye-opening thing too from seeing the playoff experience with his teammates and how we are willing to go above and beyond and that heart and that desire and all that kind of stuff. Well, Brandon, be more like a Raptor as more and more as time comes, less like a Pelican more like a Raptor. And success will find you. Trust me, success will find you. So, I know it's disheartening. We can always say woulda, coulda, shoulda. Emmanuel Quickly, Brandon Ingram, not injured in this series. Yeah, if people are going to do this to us in the finals with Kevin Durant, well, we can do the same thing to Cleveland right now, and we can say that too. And those guys would admit it too. That's the thing. Mitchell and Harden in their post-game news conference would say, yeah, if they had Brandon Ingram and Emmanuel Quickly, this would be even tougher series, and we might be in trouble. So, yeah, they weren't missing nobody. We were missing 2 starters, and that is something right there. Yeah, G saying Cavs fans chanting USA after Strus headbutted Scotty, an American. Always classy, Cleveland. Sarcasm. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. In some ways, American way is criminal way, and tacky way, and cheap way, and grifter way, and mafia way, and bully way. That's all the same right there. That's the American way now. You guys don't stand up for the meek and the innocent and the vulnerable. You bully them now. That's who you are, the United States. You're proud of that? That's disgusting. In my 50 years on this earth, I've seen the United States, which I was indoctrinated to their bullshit as a young child growing up in Tallahassee, Florida, made me to say the Pledge of Allegiance every morning, some indoctrination, some North Korea shit. So y'all brainwashed down there. You don't even know how bad your shit smells. And the fact that you think that your shit don't stink just shows how out of touch reality you are. You're not with reality, Americans. Yeah, get with the program. Y'all are bombing innocent people. You bombed a school of young children, young girls in Iran for no reason. Just destroyed young, innocent lives of children. You should be proud of that. There's nothing to be proud of, chanting your USA. You warmongers, you criminal ass mafia White House, and you're all their bullshit. That's what I say right there to those people that were so proud of their country that they felt like cheering it. Somebody brought it up on Reddit last night. Why did they do that? This isn't a matchup between USA and Canada. This isn't the hockey games. This isn't any of the Olympics or anything like that, where it's national countries. Why do y'all do that? Seriously. Why do you have to do that? Make it USA because we're the Canadian team? That's the stupidest thing in the world in some ways. And booing our anthem? Really? Is that the right look? Isn't your tourism already hurting enough because we ain't coming across the border? Do you think this kind of shit on a nationally televised across Canada Game 7, where a lot of Canadians are going to dial in and watch Raptors Game 7 in the playoffs? You think that that's going to make more people come across the border seeing your ugly ass American side booing our own anthem here? No. If anything, we were classy towards your anthem this whole entire series up here in Canada, even though I sat down at Game 4 and I didn't stand for your anthem. Herbie said it's your choice. I stayed in my seat and I didn't stand for the American anthem because I don't stand for your bullshit down there with your bombs bursting in air and all your bullshit. No, I don't stand for that war, unjustified attacking of other countries around the world. No, I don't stand for that. So don't expect me to. I'm not going to, but I'm not going to boo the anthem. But y'all going to boo our anthem when you got a criminal in chief and he's talking about 51st state rhetoric. You think he's going to help your tourism board in Ohio, you dumbass motherfuckers? You think more Canadians going to try and come to your hotels and your stupid ass theme park at Cedar, whatever, with the roller coasters in Ohio and Sandusky or whatever? You think people are going to fucking come to your stupid ass place now? No. These people see that and they're like, fuck the Americans. Fuck their bullshit. That's so disrespectful. They act like they want everybody to be so respectful to their flag and their country and their ideals and their patriotism. And then they shit all over everybody else's around the world. Fuck you, United States. Fuck USA. Fuck USA. Fuck USA. That's what I say to your chants yesterday. That's right. This is an American guy saying this. I'm dual citizen, motherfucker. That's right. Reggie's saying this. Cavs owner posted nonsense. Just foolish shit. What did he post? I don't know. I don't see everything. I just told Fiercey. I'm not looking at anything. I'm just looking at the interviews. I'm not watching any of these AI YouTube channels no more. I'm watching none of this shit. No pundits, no nothing like that. Just the reporters and the athletes, the coaches, and the front office. Yeah, I'll listen to Josh Lewinberg. I'll listen to Blake Murphy. I'll listen to Michael Grange. I'll listen to Doug Smith. But I won't be listening to the owner of the Cavs. What do you do? Dan Gilbert? Is that what his name is? Whatever his fucking name is. Sorry ass piece of shit. Sorry ass piece of shit. I don't know what he did, Reggie. You're going to flesh it out. Foolish stuff. I don't know what he did. Let's see. Medved Ted is here. Good morning, Medved Ted. Cavs needed refs to win Game 7. Harden flopping in playoffs is a disgrace. He will never win a ring. We should keep our heads high. We play great even without 2 starters. It just shows that you got to go even more extra mile. This is not the easiest route in Toronto. And that's why I'm glad we have people like Jamal Shed and Scotty Barnes on our team, because they're willing to put in that extra work and go the hard route to make it all the sweeter when they are successful. And trust me, they will be successful. They will be successful because they're doing it the right way. And in some ways, the way that we have to do it as a franchise, as the Canadian team in the NBA, tests us to be like this when we do get to this point. So American fans, people that just saw the Raptors for the first time this year because they were on the playoffs, we practiced like this and played like this all year to be ready for this, because in some ways we have to be like this to be able to go above and beyond and be successful like this. So yeah, welcome to the introduction to the Raptors. And yeah, we are like this. That's what I say, like that. Yeah. Yeah. Hold your heads up high, Raptors Nation. Fiercely saying this. Good morning, fam, and happy Monday. Despite the outcome, I'm proud of the squad. We were not expected to make it that far, so forcing a playoffs Game 7 definitely gave them experience. Yeah, it's a very, very valuable experience. In fact, I can literally see the wheels turning in Jamal Shed and Jacoby Walters' heads as far as this is what it is, and it's clicking. Oh, this is what the playoffs are. Oh, this is what this matters. Oh, this is why Raptors Freak warned me in the middle of the season that this will matter at some point, because it really does matter now. Yeah. Yeah. I knew what it took for them in the playoffs. And that's why I say y'all got to make your free throws. That's why you got to take care of the ball. That's why no fancy looking back when you're about to dunk it, Scott, because none of that shit is worth of anything when it really matters. And the margin of error is so slim, you could screw up your play just because you're trying to be cute. So no more of this. You guys got to play the right way all 82 games and tighten it up. You know, there, like I said yesterday, there were a bunch of games this past regular season that y'all fumbled that you shouldn't have lost. That if you had taken care of those games, well, maybe we would have been home court advantage in Game 7 would have been in Toronto yesterday. I mean, that's the whole lesson. That's part of the whole big lesson this year for you guys, is that you need to take care of every one of those 82 games because they could matter in this what happened yesterday. Because we have the home court advantage in this series. We win. We win this series. I'm sorry. We win this series if we're the 4 seed and they're the 5. That's right. We win this series. You know we do. You know we do. And maybe not even close at that point. You know what I'm saying? Medved Ted saying Darko out-coached Kenny in this series. I'm proud of our guys and coach. Honestly, I'm disgusted with Kenny Atkinson because he lowered himself to cheap shit. Like Max Struess's headbutt, like one of them calling around the neck, and Zach Zarba calling a flagrant foul on that. Yeah, there was some flagrant shit. And even at the end, when Jared Allen threw Jacoby Walter to the ground and RJ got in his face. Yeah, RJ stands on business, and I'm proud of our guy RJ. And if anything, there's another reason why you got to keep that guy around, because he's one of the guys. He's our enforcer, obviously. He's our surge right now. He's our Charles Oakley. It's not only is he one of our best scoring options, not only is our Canadian content, not only is the guy who can speak French in the interview, but he's also the guy who's going to run over and protect whoever's on the court when he's out there. Yeah, he's going to do that. And it's too bad he wasn't out there in New Orleans when DeJounte did his bullshit. Yeah, I'm so proud of RJ for that. Standing on business, standing up for Jacoby. That's right. You know, it's funny. This is what Reggie Miller said about the foul on Colin Murray-Boyles when they grabbed his neck. This is what he said. Reggie said, when that kind of thing happens to you as a player, you should over-embellish and get really mad because they're totally wrong for grabbing his neck like that. And Reggie said, you got to act like you want to fight him. And then Zach Zarba will for sure go look at it because there's a skirmish. And then he'll see, oh, that's why. And they may even make the penalty for the player that grabbed your neck more severe because you had such a strong emotional reaction to him doing that. Colin was too calm as a cucumber. He's a strong kid. In some ways, he did a reaction where he didn't react. He no-selled. Well, he should have sold that, is what Reggie's saying. And Mike Tirico asked him, is like, Reggie, did you do that in your career? Oh, but I might have participated in that, Mike, just a little bit. I might have done that in my career. Yeah. You can feign anger or getting pissed off at somebody, even if you're not that angry. You're still under control just to get the ref to go and check it out for sure. Because that would have been a travesty if that player had grabbed your neck, maybe slightly hurt you. That's very dangerous. I'm full grown man strength. You're going through the air. You can wrench a guy's neck, give him a concussion. If you go through it like Shaq, like you don't no sell it. Oh, it didn't hurt or anything like that. In some ways, that's what Reggie's saying. You got to make a big deal out of it, and then they'll see it and it'll call attention to it because they may not have seen that. They were right on the play though and saw it though. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of dirty shit in this game by the Cavs, and in some ways, they knew that they had to go the dirty route if they were going to try and beat us. And well, it worked, along with a ref hit job, and also having home court advantage, and also having two Raptors starters out. Yeah, this all add up to this kind of outcome for sure. I think that Darko did a fantastic job coaching. I like the defensive rotations at the beginning of the series were not that good, but they evolved as the series went on and got better and better. And some of it was using Colin and Scotty on the primary guys and being the spear of the defense, the tip of it. And that was basically keep those guys outside and crowd and smother Mitchell and Harden at the top of the key, and then everybody shift around them, behind them. And it was actually pretty effective. There was times where the Cavs offense got behind our defense and there was an easy like dunk behind our backs, and it looked bad. Sure. But man, this is a tough team to rebound against. You got Mobley and Allen. They got very long arms. Jared Allen is one of the best rebounders in this league. And well, he had a very good game last night in the way he was catching rebounds. Let's do the stars of the game. We might as well do that right now. Last stars of the game for the season. And it's game 7, Raptors at Cavs. And well, Scotty Barnes is my number one star of the game. Scotty, 37 minutes last night, 24 points, 8 of 14 shooting. His shot is so nice, man. Those turnarounds, more and more Kawhi-like, the way he operates with those turnarounds and the shots and things he does. He did hit a 3, the only one he took, and he is perfect at the line, 7 for 7. Yeah, Scotty was really top notch. He really, and the other thing is the joy on his face grew the whole series. He can't hide how much fun he's having. Because Scott, from being around him on Twitch that summer, he is a real basketball nerd. He really loves basketball related kind of stuff. And he is a big fan of the NBA. He's a big fan of the stars of the NBA. He's a big fan of the whole idea of the NBA. And in some ways, he is a star in the NBA. And he has to pinch himself. And I think him graduating and elevating to all NBA status, which is what he should get this year. And people that watch this series cannot deny this man should be on one of the 3 all NBA teams at the postseason award. He's giddy with this. In fact, he can't hide his smile. He can't hide his smile right now because he's understanding something. And the thing that he said in his post-game conference, and he said it kind of after the last game too, is now he's discovered this. Now he understands it better. Now he's going to do it more common, more often. And that's the thing. I think that he was so unselfish. And this was the biggest battle and the thing inside for Scott internally this whole year is I'm a team player. I put my teammates first. I pass first and I shoot later. But he realized in some modes he needs to shoot first and then pass second. And that's the big lesson that's been learned in the last month for Scotty Barnes from the end of the season into the first round and everything. And I think that he's going to strike the right balance next year. That will be part of the challenge for Scotty Barnes in the years to come. Is just like all top level superstars like him, like LeBron James, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Nikola Jokic, SGA. It's about balancing, calling your own number with your teammates for the health of your team and to get to the best percentage chance of winning. And I think that Scotty obtained some new information from this series and the way to play to balance that to be very healthy in the right way for us to have the best chance to win. So next year, we're going to see if he's moving a little different right from the start. It could very well be he starts slow at the beginning of the year because in some ways those are lower stake games and we're feeling things out and maybe that we don't want to rely on him too heavy early. But as the season goes on, I'd like to see him become more and more selfish in some ways and trying to score for himself and not necessarily pass to everybody else. Because that's going to be the thing that makes the Raptors the most powerful team and version that they can be. 9 rebounds for Scott, also 6 assists, 3 turnovers, 1 block, and he was even on the plus minus. He had a lot of those assists in the first quarter. Reggie Miller was going crazy about that. He's like, not only does this guy play amazing defense everywhere, but he's got more assists than all the Cavs in the first quarter. Yeah. But where did those assists go at a certain point? And was it because he was just only calling his own number? No, I think in some ways things just kind of shifted in the game and things got a little bit more difficult in some ways because he did have a lot of his assists in the first quarter. And he didn't get a whole lot of assists at all in the second half. That's for sure. My second star of the game for last night's game that I want to talk about, and this may surprise people, is Jakob. For all the talk about how Jakob's washed, Jakob's too old, Jakob's back is done, he's no good anymore, y'all are foolish. Because you know what? They didn't play Yak for a big chunk in the middle of the game. We got roasted. Colin Murray-Boyles was getting tore up on the boards by Jared Allen. And you know what? How things got fixed, Darko reinserted Jakob Poeltl late in the game, and all of a sudden, all that stuff changed again. Once again, Poeltl is not a player that's supposed to get you 20 points and 15 rebounds every game because in some ways he has done that in the past and he is capable of it. And that's part of the problem is that we've seen the peaks of Poeltl and his capabilities, and everybody judges him against that. Well, if you're kind of hurt or the dynamics of your team shift with touches and responsibilities and who should be leaned on to take shots and do this, we got to understand in the couple of years of Poeltl on the Raptors before this, there are times where he had to be one of the main options because we were scant with choices. And right now we aren't. You have the starting lineup that we normally have when it's healthy. He is not the first, second, third, or fourth option. He's the fifth option. And, last year he may have been the second or third option in a lot of games, depending on who's available because of health. So we can't gauge Jakob solely by his statistical output and his averages. We got to gauge him by, all right, and this I'm going to read it right here. This is the Raptors Redditor of the day. The Raptors Redditor of the day is formerly Sean Hawaii. Formerly Sean Hawaii is saying this is opinion piece. Impressed with Poeltl. There's a reason we have him. That reason is Joel Embiid. That reason is Jared Allen. That reason is Nikola Jokic. That reason is Ivica Zubac. That reason is Anthony Davis. These are the reasons why we have Jakob Poeltl on our team, guys. Anyone that wants to beat Philadelphia needs a big body to bang against Embiid. Even just wearing him down, not necessarily shutting him down, helps. That's it. Yes, the Raptors have better looks with other lineups. Yes, the contract isn't great. But Poeltl looked real good at times in this playoffs, moving around well for how many games he missed. If we can get that Poeltl for 50 to 60 games a year for the next 3 years, and he's ready for a playoff run, it will be a net positive. Yeah, I agree with this. And also, he's bringing up that this contract is tradable in 2 years if we want, or we keep our Embiid insurance card. It's not like freak strong 7-footers are easy to get. We don't take Cavs to 7 games without Jakob Poeltl. You thought the rebounding was bad? Imagine if he was not there at all. Feeling optimistic about Poeltl. Love this team. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk. Go Raptors, go. Yes, we've heard your TED Talk, formerly Sean of Hawaii, and you are the Raptors Redditor of the day. This is exactly why. In some ways, this has nothing to do with stats. This has nothing to do with getting cooked. This has nothing to do with a step slow and looking bad to the eye test. This is about just having muscle and size to just even combat on a certain level. Remember Tampa season. Remember times when the Raptors didn't have a proper center on their team, and realize even if that guy is not putting statistical numbers out or his eye test looks horrible to you, there are so many unspoken things that he is doing out there that absolutely help us. And you know that our big Austrian would have looked way, way better if Quickly was running around with him out there on that court in this series. You know. And you got to remember, not only does this guy get rebounds and block shots for us, he makes little push shots. He's good with his hands near the basket, and he cleans up offensive rebounds and puts them back. He does a lot of good stuff for us down low. He's also the best screen setter on our team. And, we have trouble getting offense going sometimes. Sometimes having Pirtle out there stirs the drink just as well as RJ Barrett bullying his way to the basket, because he can put a big wall up and somebody like Jacoby Walter can run around it and hit a three. So there's so much value in Yak. And everybody, once again, I'll say the reason why some of the forces out there are so against Yak and talk down to him is because they're not for us, and they see that he is the last bastion of a real center on our team. So why wouldn't another team, nation, or other fans in the league that hate Toronto, why wouldn't they come in and subterfuge and trick Raptors fans into hating Jakob's contract and how he plays? Because they see it this way, like I do. Let's get rid of their last defense as a true center on their team, and they will really not be able to win in the NBA when he's gone. This Redditor gets it, and I wish more Raptors Nation got it. But yeah, Yak is my second star of the game, guys. He was actually pretty good in this game. This is one of his better games in the 7-game series. He didn't play a whole lot of the game, and Colin got a lot of time for his X factor and stuff like that. Jakob's not in the way of Colin in developing and getting better and getting time on the court. They can play at the same time, and Yak's not taking minutes from Colin. If everybody's worried about that, and who cares if he starts, if Colin plays more minutes than him, 22 minutes for Pirtle, 9 points on 4 of 5 shooting, 1 of 4 from the free throw line. Yes, the free throws were ugly. Yes, they were in Cleveland. Yes, the crowd was trying to screw him up. 7 rebounds, 2 turnovers, 2 steals, a +9. That's the other part of it that tells you that the man's valuable. He's the highest plus minus out of all the Raptors last night. He's the only one of them that is actually where we were winning on the court when he was on the court. We outscored the Cavs by 9 points when Yak was in the game for the 22 minutes he was out there. And that's the highest, best plus minus out of all the Raptors from last night. You can not feel great and thrilled about rebounding like I do, but realize this is part of the reason why I like Yak so much, because he is one of our best fighters in there. And the other thing about Yak not looking right out there, well, what did I tell you about what the Cavs were doing yesterday? They were holding everybody. And you think that Jakob wouldn't love to get all the rebounds, but maybe there's a Cav that's holding his arm, like we saw very clearly in this game many times. And they even called the foul sometimes. He's often in there battling to get the rebound by himself. And there's like 2 or 3 Cavs around him. And one of them's grabbing Jakob, and the other 2 are going for the ball. So it's like, look, open your eyes, watch it for yourself. And if you really think that he's so ineffective and so bad, well, you go out there and try and do what he does in that environment with those people and those guys around you. Yeah. See if you can do any of that. Seriously, it's so easy. You think it's so easy to do what he does in the league. I'm just saying, my last star of the game for the season for this year is going to be RJ Barrett. RJ did not have the most efficient game last night, but he was a 20-point scorer for us. 43 minutes for Star J. 23 points on 9 of 25 shooting. Yeah, there's a lot of missed shots, but we needed somebody to score. And some of that pressure to do that is off of him if BI is available, right? 1 for 6 from 3. Too bad it wasn't falling in this game last night. 4 or 5 at the free throw line. I do like that RJ made primarily most of his free throws. He only missed 1. 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 turnovers, 3 steals, a -4 for RJ. There's no denying RJ's out there laying it all on the court, fighting, playing his ass off, muscling his way into the lane to make these shots. He can't be perfect or shoot very well every single game. In his career in New York, maybe he had every half his games were inefficient and half his games were kind of okay. And maybe one game, like he had 5 games, 2 of them would be really bad efficiency. 2 of them would be just meh efficiency, and 1 would be really efficient. And well, now it's flipped. It's kind of like he'll have 1 very inefficient game out of 5. He'll have 2 that are okay, and then he'll have 2 extremely efficient games. That's kind of how it's flipping around with him. Law of averages, basketball. Nobody's going to be perfect. This is going to be how it is sometimes, ups and downs. You make some, you miss some. RJ had one of his worst shooting games of the series last night, but he still scored 23, and somebody had to take those shots. Somebody had to take those shots. So those are my 3 stars of the game for the last game of the season for the Raptors: Scotty Barnes, Jakob Poeltl, and RJ Barrett. I'll give some honorable mention to Jamal Shed. He was very good in the first half. He was all over the place. He was very, very aggressive to score. And he had some very, very, very good stuff, man. I was so proud of him and how much dog he was showing. Very much on both ends of the court, whether it was on defense or trying to run the offense for the Raptors as the starting point guard. 36 minutes for Shed, 14 points, 5 of 16 shooting, another inefficient night like RJ's. 2 of 8 from 3, 2 of 3 at the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 turnover, of minus 13. Yeah, that's a tough game for him. Jacoby Walter started hot, and he looked really good in the first half and kind of trailed off in the second half, unfortunately. 38 minutes for young Walter, 13 points on 4-9 shooting, 3 of 7 from 3, 2 of 3 at the free throw line, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 turnovers, 3 steals, 1 block, a minus 15. Yeah, just, winning basketball takes all kinds of forms, and it's not just steals and making threes. It's not just making good defensive plays. It's making free throws. It's also, not making a dumb foul here. It's also making sure you box out and you board and you get the rebound before them. It just seemed like too much standing around on offensive rebounds, the opportunities for them. And we're just watching the Cavs run by us and go get the ball like Strus. Strus is just like a streak running across the lane and chasing after the rebounds. Where was that, Raptors? In some ways, I say, Jacoby, you should be doing that. You should be doing that. But yeah, in some ways, that may have been the biggest Achilles heel in this whole series, is the fact that we could not stop the Cavs from getting offensive rebounds. It's really, really bad. Off the bench, Sandro only got 9 minutes, but he got 6 points, 3 for 6 from the field, missed both his 3-pointers, and he missed a free throw, and he had a turnover. He was a -9. The garbage time for those guys at the end, just get an appearance, really. They didn't really get any stats. Trace Jackson Davis, Jonathan Mobo, Garrett Temple, and Grady Dick. Jamison Battle, 14 minutes, 3 points, 1 of 3 from the field, including 1 of 2 from 3, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. You saw that Jamison 3 early, and I'm like, yeah, let's make it this kind of game. I feel like you pull the plug on Jamison too early, Darko. And next year, this is what I want. Quite often this year, there was a lot of kickouts to particular players, and it seemed like they landed on Brandon, Sandro, and Jacoby the most. But I don't understand why you guys wouldn't drive and kick to Jamison and Grady more. There was one particular play in this game last night where I don't know why AJ Lawson's the guy in the corner. It should be Jamison Battle in the corner. Seriously. Like, Darko, I want to challenge you next year to do a better job of highlighting Jamison Battle to get really good open threes and do this more often and practice this more often so that we can build this up for when we are in the postseason, that he can be a full rotation player and that he can be this weapon that he is. Because that transition 3 hit in the middle of the game, at the beginning of the game, was fantastic. And we should have built off of that. But we're going away from him. We're not finding him. We're not setting up plays to set him up for success. And he's such a dead eye. It's crazy. You run down the court and we get penetration at the rim and there's a guy in the corner and you're throwing it. It's AJ Lawson. I'm like, why isn't that Battle? Couldn't Battle have ran there and done that? He was on the court at the same time too. Why isn't it Battle? I mean, AJ's good in the corner. Don't get me wrong. And I love AJ taking shots. But the higher percentage shot is Jamison Battle taking that corner 3, isn't it? So I don't know. I'll put this challenge to the coaching staff of the Raptors for next year. Let's do a better job of cultivating things. You guys said the same thing about Brandon this season. We need to do a better job of finding good looks for Brandon and getting him open and getting him going. Well, I would say take the name Brandon Ingram out of there and put Jamison Battle in there instead. And maybe even, what the hell, Reclamation Project, put Grady Dick's name in there too. And see if you can figure out a way. Because y'all did not cater to Battle or Dick this year at all to try and help them find success in the right ways. Y'all did not cultivate it right. Y'all did not fertilize the ground right to get a good, strong plant growing for both those guys this season and to establish them more as regular rotation players that are dependable to count on. I know Grady lost a lot of confidence and he fell out, but Jameson didn't. And also, as much as we saw growth in Walter and Shed and Scotty and Colin and RJ, we didn't see enough growth with Jameson this year. And in some ways, that was a blind spot for our team that we should have done more with because he would have been very powerful and helpful at this point in the postseason. You know, we want guys like Strus and Merrill and Wade on our team. And well, Battle's that guy, but if we don't use him, then what the hell is the whole point? Is what I'm saying. Colin Murray-Boyles, 24 minutes, 8 points, 3 of 5 shooting, 2 of 3 from the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 turnovers, 2 steals, and a block, a minus 19, the worst plus minus on our team. He's still a rookie. He's still going to make rookie mistakes. He can be exemplary physical talent. You can see that explosiveness, the way he'll attack the rim and dunk it. Yeah, it's very Barkley, but it's still, there's a lot to clean up. There's a lot of knowledge to gain. There's a lot of seasoning. He's still kind of a green fruit. You know, he's still kind of a green fruit on the tree. All right, let's see. We got another caller today. Hello, caller. You're on the Raptor Freak Show.
What's up, sexy?
We got Blackhawk on the call today. What's up? What's up, Neil? How you doing today, man?
I'm being a terrorist today, man. That's what I'm gonna be.
You're being what?
I'm being a terrorist. I'm gonna go over the border and look for some Cavs fans, man, and deal out some revenge.
Oh no,
man.
no! Don't even say these kind of things. Like I'm not. Listen, first of all, you're gonna get a keyword on me using that word. First of all, and you don't know how surveillance state is right now. They may take this seriously and think you're actually going to do that, man. Come on now. Wait, where'd he go? He hung up the phone on himself. Call back, Neil, if you want. Where's he going? Why are you going to Cleveland? You don't need to go to the States, man. Don't go over there. Don't go over there, Neil. No reason to go to the States, my guy. All right, let me see. I was talking about Colin. Yeah, Colin's is still an unripe fruit on the tree. All right. Let's see. Let's not hang up on ourselves this time. Come on now. Let's not hang up on ourselves this time. All right, Neil, anything more you want to add other than your...
Well, first of all, how Strus played yesterday, it looked more than okay. You saw that Allen was more amped up, and even Mitchell and stuff like that. But Strus was a little bit further. Strus, I'm like, they need to drug test that guy because I really look at it and say, hey, that's more than what they're doing. Like it is just like it was so uncharacteristic and so far over the edge that it's like you got to have more than a pep talk to go that far.
Nah, you know what it is, and I'm going to tell you what it is. He was on Miami. That's why. He pulled his old Heat culture out. And
even on Miami, I don't remember him.
Yeah, like I know. But in some ways, he was playing with that spirit, the spirit of Spoelstra and his old team. And
button.
Yeah.
Like I can get the holding of arm. Everybody holds, right? But there were some things going on like a little bit too weird. It was just too weird.
Well, listen, Neil, in the last couple of games, the Cats have been trying us actively, whether it's Dennis getting in RJ's face, whether it's them throwing people around, grabbing people's necks, headbutting, grabbing people. People are straight up trying us, and we're a younger team. They knew that they could maybe get us out of our element. Scotty and Harden going at each other in different times. Harden talking trash to Scotty. And this is something we should be very proud of our young guys, is they didn't take the bait. None of them took the bait and blew up and went the other way. And RJ was regulating. And he was still holding down like pride and respect for us, even though these guys like Dennis totally tried to bait him into some sort of fracas. And RJ didn't buy it.
I know that, but I mean, you can't say they didn't take the bait. I mean, sometimes the referee called it on us instead of them.
Well, no, I'm talking about with our players and their emotions and them not like playing into their schemes. Because their whole schemes were to take them out of the game mentally. Their whole schemes were to get us rattled, to get us kind of and all that. And none of that worked. I would say the things that rattled us at times were some of the weird shit like the USA chants and then putting up US flags all over the place all of a sudden.
I don't even think that rattled us. I really don't think that rattled us.
I think that in some
think
ways it's annoying because it does make you feel like an outsider. It does make you feel like, whoa, this is like not, and especially for some of the American guys, because it doesn't compute in their heads in some ways, but they're also like, whoa, all right, I'm not Canadian, but I can feel some of this energy that's really negative coming from them. And it's like, whoa, this is kind of messed up. You know what I'm saying?
If you're looking at it, we were actually hanging in that game. The only thing that was killing us was that rebounding was killing us. And that was extra possessions we lost because of those rebounding there.
Yeah.
So if we solve the rebounding, because look at it, we basically did it without our main point guard. Forget about BI. Forget about BI.
Yeah.
Just look at it from a point guard perspective.
Yeah.
We basically stayed in that game, and it was
this
just
whole series.
rebounding. If we had the rebounding solved,
that's why I've been saying all year we need depth at center. And getting Trace Jackson Davis was a step in the right direction. Getting Mamu was a step in the right direction. Getting Colin, but I think most teams in the NBA have at least 2 or 3 true centers.
True centers. I'm not calling Mamu there because what I saw Mamu go through in this series. Here's a guy that normally shoots in the regular season, and he hesitated multiple times. The job of being a center and a small forward / power forward, I think it mucked with his head. So I like maybe next series he would be better, but for this series, like if going forward, I would want a true center. And you take Mamu as a small forward or a power forward.
Well, this
and let
is
him
the
be
thing.
His natural self.
With Mamu, this series, his minutes got cut down. He wasn't actually a full rotation player in this series. He was an edge of the rotation player.
Yeah, but did you see how he was performing when he was on the floor? Because that's why I could see why Darko was doing that.
To me, you always get certain things for sure when Mamu's out there, and that's hustle. And that's just trying and going all out. I mean, I didn't pay extra close attention to him just specifically out of everybody.
He only had one good rebounding series, and then everything else was mistakes at the rebound. Like Darko kind of pulled him out.
What I would say once again is that he wasn't a full rotation member in this series. He got minutes in every game, but some of these minutes, like he only played 9 minutes last night.
Yeah, because then again, he was losing the battle.
Yeah, but you don't know which is the chicken or the egg. You could say it's, he played bad, that's why he's not playing. Or it could very well be that the team's plan was not to play him a whole lot last night because they wanted to.
I think Darko would have used him. If he was stronger on defense, Darko
this is a woulda, coulda, shoulda. You can have your opinion about what you think. It doesn't mean it's true. I would just say this. We can go by what happened. And, he only got limited amount of minutes out there. So, in some ways, dumping on Sandro for his output and what he did out there is it's not worthwhile. Because in some ways, he didn't get the opportunities. He didn't get the opportunities in the series that he got in the regular season. He didn't get the same opportunities.
You got to look at it this way. It is worthwhile because you have to figure out how to make the team stronger. And I'm not saying get rid of the guy. I'm saying play him at a better position.
Yeah, but we have better talented guys at that position than him in that regard. The whole thing with him was just as he really was our backup big. Whether, I know for Georgia, he played 3. He's played 4. As he says, he plays 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. But, the whole thing about it is, and I don't want to get bogged down with just talking about Mamu right now, because honestly, he's a non-story for this in every kind of way. Because
I don't see him as a
I mean, what is your whole point, Neil? Or you just want to denigrate? You just want to denigrate Mamu? Is that what your call is?
To do what to Mamu?
Is your whole call? I'm going to the States. I'm gonna be a terrorist, and I want to denigrate Mamu. Is that what your whole call is?
You know, I ain't going to the States.
Okay, good. I would be worried for you because nobody needs to be going there right now.
Okay, that's even worse, man. I mean, some people have to make their living and they have to go. I mean, I had to go once this year.
I know, and that's unfortunate.
Reluctantly, I went. You know what I mean? It's just the facts. We gotta make our money.
But all right. How about this? Let's reorient the call.
Yeah.
I would like a synopsis, conclusion, take for the whole entire season from you on your opinion and just in general. I don't know how you want to do it. You could do words of encouragement. You could do just like your analysis of what you feel like this year was?
More analysis. I'm more analysis.
Okay, let's hear it.
Sense, right? Because I don't think there's any words because they did a great, phenomenal job of putting heart into it. You can't fault effort.
That's right? What got us new fans. Was
right?
People saw them on the national spotlight and like, whoa, those Raptors guys really care. And wow, is their crowd fun.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I would say to it over the season, what we're seeing is we still have guys playing out of position, and I would prefer that the front office focus on getting the right parts in here so that you can play guys in the right positions, because they would look further, they would look stronger and go further if they didn't have to double up. Like, look at it. Scotty played like basically 5 positions.
Yeah.
That's insanity. That's insanity.
Well, like, that's not totally, because he can do it, and in some ways that keeps the other team guessing.
It's not about the can.
You know, let's talk about this. This
right?
On the download. This was a big manipulation about last night, was Scotty's foul trouble.
Yeah.
We got 2 starters out. We got RJ, who's not necessarily hitting on the night correctly.
Right.
We got a back. Our center has back issues. And then our main guy, in some ways, he's saddled with foul trouble, and that's totally kind of holding him back.
For what was ticky-tack foul, at least the first 2 were ticky-tack foul. Like, there was only one with the breakaway.
Worst part of all that is Scotty could have played 48 minutes last night, and he would have played 48 minutes if he could have, but because foul trouble, that takes some of his time on the court.
They were targeting him and our players to try and get the foul. That was part of their strategy.
That was a ref manipulation by the league to kind of temper and stop it.
That was part of Kenny Atkinson's strategy, is to force these guys.
I don't even think it was Kenny Atkinson, though. I think it was Zach Zarba. I think it's just like listen a second. It's just like when Fred got 2 fouls in the Philadelphia series that year in the first 45 seconds of a game against Philadelphia in the first round a few years ago.
Yeah, think about it, right?
Yeah.
That team was losing in the beginning, and it wasn't until they got into the foul that they were able to climb back in.
Yeah.
The fouls helped them.
No, it's ridiculous that they were in the bonus and like 6 minutes into the game.
Right. So that's why I'm saying Kenny Atkinson and his team were inspired to get us into fouls.
I don't think they had anything to do with it, Neil. I'm going to say this right now. I think it's very much the referees decide the whistle and how tight they want to call it. And in some ways, they decided right from the back because they know the Raptors are playing aggressive this whole series. They're on them like T-shirts on their back. And
I hear your point, man. I'm just of the other opinion because I was just looking.
I'm not going to give the credit to Kenny Atkinson, especially when the refs are giving free candy to them at the charity line.
I'm just saying it's his strategy, and that's what I'm. Yeah,
but we had the same strategy too. Get Mobley and Allen in foul trouble. Get any of their main guys in trouble.
We weren't doing it.
And Mobley was in foul trouble. We have to admit that he had 5 fouls just like Scotty did.
But how many flops were there in that? You know what I'm saying? On our side, we weren't really flopping as if.
That's what I'm saying. We're playing ethical and integrity kind of basketball, and the other team's taking shortcuts and doing dirty shit.
Dirty stuff, and like in this series, you had Harden. Whenever you hand checked him, he would take a flop shot. You know what I'm saying? It happened to Walter. It happened to Scotty. It happened to Battle.
Yeah. Well, that was that one play where Jacoby just put his hand on his arm just a little bit, and then James over exaggerated, and he got 3 free throws after that.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you're talking about with that. I don't respect that, and I will really say once again at the beginning of the game, because every game is different. The players get on the court, they feel out the whistle, they see how much these guys are going to call Curtis Blair and Zach Zarba. And them, and they were calling really touchy at the beginning of the game, and they put Scott in foul trouble, and they put the Cavs on the line in the bonus really early. That sets the tone. We are still above it. We're still going above and beyond. We're playing our asses off, and we're still beating them, even though they're doing that to us.
But to me, that it's those floppy calls that really took the series.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the essential thing. To me personally, there were like 3 things that I felt like were the biggest things that killed us. And one of them was the rebounding. Offensive rebound is one of them for sure.
Correct.
Another one, and this is unsung and people don't talk about enough, is the 3-point shooting of people like Evan Mobley and Jalen Tyson.
Correct.
Those guys hit key threes during this whole series that we just did not need them to hit.
Right. They got shooters. They got shooters on their team. But if we guard them well, that really messed up their shooting.
And then the third part is their dirtiness and just them doing really dirty shit the whole series. Whether it's grabbing ankles, like James Harden grabs RJ's ankle that one time, grabbing necks, grabbing arms, headbutting, all this shit was extra. And in some ways it's like, okay, bad boy basketball, we're playing.
But even when they did the dirty shit, the refs were calling double technicals when they were the ones being
and
dirty.
Penalizing both of us.
Yeah.
No, I know.
So, we're basically on the same wavelength here, right?
No, I know. We're just coming from different directions, but we're at the same place.
Yeah. We see
Neil,
the same thing here, man.
Neil, I appreciate your call. Do you have any final words you want before I say adios?
This off season is going to be amazing for these guys who got to play, right? I'm looking at Shed and saying, okay, he's not our primary point guard, but this is good for him.
Oh yeah,
he's accelerated, so he'll be an excellent backup point guard from this experience.
It's the thing is, Shed is a cerebral player. He's not the biggest guy. He's got a huge heart and a big brain, and those are the two things that are going to get him so far in this league.
Yeah, and he's playing in the NBA, so now he knows what it is, right? And now he's been at the highest level. Right. Now he knows what it's going to take. What everything he's done.
He got playoff experience, and he didn't sink. He swam.
Yep.
That's
so
it.
You look at Jacoby, you look at CMB, even Battle. I don't know if AJ is going to stick with the team, but even he got that experience there. This team looked very good with a bunch of rookies and second-year players, right?
Yeah.
Let's not even talk about our vet players, right? Look at our supporting cast.
Yeah.
They got the experience in there. They're going to be phenomenal with their offseason because now they're going to, I like what Darko said. Darko said, this ain't even enough. Like he said, they need to do more.
Well,
right?
This is the great thing. It is really a rebuild. And what you mean is there's levels you rebuild to. And this experience, this postseason experience is going to set up, because what they're going to do this week now is exit interviews. These guys are going to come back to Toronto today. They're going to clean out their lockers. They're going to do all the regular end of the season stuff. There'll be some end of the season press conferences, maybe with Bobby or Darko or maybe some of the players, who knows. And also they're going to get their meetings with Darko, and they're going to sit in the office with him, and he's going to have he's already ahead. He's got all this stuff ready for them, I'm sure, because he's just like that. He's going to have an itinerary for them to follow this summer, for them to better themselves individually on their own time and train this summer. And the guys that listen to him and do the hard work this summer will come back with showing the results of it as better players, because that's often what they say in this NBA. It's not, you don't get better during the season. You get better during the off season. And you practice what you got better in the off season during the regular season. So
that's what I'm looking forward to. You guys
I can only imagine. Last year, Shed sat in the room with Darko and he said, "We need you to work on your left hand."
Well, you know what else he worked on, and people were complaining about it, but I could tell it's purely in the regimen that they gave him, which is his shooting. Like, people are like, "Don't shoot," but you could tell the way he was shooting. That's what they're working on.
His 3-point shot improved this year for sure. And some of the stuff that he does on drives to the basket, but there's still decision making. There's still things like with his passing, he needs to be better with his passing. He's still passing at a collegiate level, and he's not passing at an NBA level.
Hey, he's a 2-year guy.
I know,
2 more years,
but that's the thing. That's the experience. He has to understand. It's like Colin's doing the same thing. He has really weak passes that he could have done in South Carolina. But this is the NBA, and they're faster and they're quicker to get in that passing lane and pick it off. So these are the kind of things they'll tighten up. But either way, Neil, it's a pleasure talking to you today. Thank you, Black Hawk.
All right, take care.
Only blessings to you and yours. And let's have a great summer, my guy.
All right, you and Adriana, take care.
I appreciate that, Neil, so much. And I look forward to seeing you again this summer at some point. I know I probably will run into you.
Well, you're going to hold an event? Well, we got to do the Mo thing, right?
Yeah, I think hopefully we'll do the birthday party for Monique at the NBA restaurant, the annual event that we have been doing the last few years. So hopefully we'll do that. We'll see. Maybe there'll be another event somewhere, somehow, some way. Also, possibly we could be going to a tempo game together. Who knows?
There you go, doing the tempo.
That's right. All right, Neil. Only
All right,
blessings to you, your wife, and your family. All right.
All right, man.
All right,
Take care.
man. Later. Awesome. Good call from Neil. Started out shaky with what are you talking about? Going to the States? What do you mean, man? What are you doing? And then AJ Lawson, 16 minutes, 2 points on 1 of 4 shooting, 0 for 2 from 3, 2 rebounds, and 1 block for AJ Lawson. AJ is a difference maker. AJ's a nice stopgap, quick defensive add-on in there. Somebody's in foul trouble and you don't want a huge drop-off in experience and defensive energy. AJ Lawson, put him out there. There you go. But yeah, that's the Raptors box score. We'll look at the other side real quick and give props to Jared Allen, who, according to Kenny Atkinson after the game, had his best game he's ever had around him. And we got to remember, Kenny coached Jared Allen in Brooklyn years ago when we swept the Brooklyn Nets in the bubble before the series against Boston that went to 7. Jared Allen was the center and Kenny Atkinson was the coach of the first ever Toronto Raptors sweep in playoff history. So Kenny was very proud of Jared and saying that this is the best I've ever seen him play his whole entire career. I've known Jared a long time. I've worked with him a long, long time. And this is the best he's ever played. That's what Coach Atkinson said after the game last night. 22 points with 19 rebounds on 7-11 shooting in 33 minutes. He also had 3 blocks and 2 steals. So, yeah, it was a pretty good game by Allen there. Yeah, very, very good. He was he was by far the best player for them. The rest of them were kind of duds in different ways. Whether it's James hardening, or Donovan Mitchell shooting 9 for 20. It's not totally bad. But yeah, looking at the team stats, and we can find out where we lost here. The third quarter was a disaster. That 38-19, we were tied at halftime. Everything's fine. And the script got flipped, and it's association versus the Raptors at that point. And to get through that kind of a maelstrom, you need to have very strong convictions and strong execution to do everything exactly perfect to weather that storm and overcome it and beat it from within. And alas, the Raptors were missing shots, not boxing out, and not doing the right things to do it right. We shot 44%. They shot 45%. And we did manage to get 2 more shot attempts. We didn't shoot well at 3, but they didn't shoot well at 3 either. It was 8 threes for us, 11 for them. We shot a better percentage, though. The free throw line was the charity stripe for them. Zach Zarba and Nick Bookert and them gave them 37 free throw attempts, and we only got 26. We lost by 12, and they got 11 more free throw attempts than us. So, yeah, there's ways to manufacture a lead and help a team win if the league wants them to. And there's a lot of this in this. The rebounds, 60-33, absolutely horrible, including 20 offensive rebounds. And some of this stuff was annoying. Some of it was Raptors fundamentals, 2 hands. Y'all going up to grab the ball like this? What the fuck are you doing? They're coming with 2 hands from the side and taking it out of your hands. You got to go get it and bring it down like this, like Bill Russell. Like the old school, grab it with 2 hands and bring it down and hold it here. Because even just having it around here, that's not safe. With Jared Allen's long-ass arms coming up and disrupting it and pushing it a little bit further out, and then the effort to get to the ball is the place that people get the ball then. And if your effort isn't to go chase it down and get it, and the Cavs are, there you go. There's the offensive rebounds right there. You got to go up and get it. You got to want it. And in some ways, if there's some department that Neil and I were talking about just now, Bobby's got to work on this summer is get us some better rebounders. And maybe that does mean another center, that we need a second center along with Jakob. It doesn't mean get rid of Jakob, because getting rid of him is going the wrong direction, because he is really kind of our best rebounder in a lot of ways. Scotty and him are close. So it's like, you can't really get rid of Yak because you're making us more deficient in our weakness. With that, it just looks weak because we're weak at the position. We don't have enough people there. The assist to turnover ratio wasn't bad, I guess. 25 assists for us with 14 turnovers. It's not what we do normally. 23-17 for them. We had 10 steals. That's pretty good. Fast break was even, and points in the paint, 42-50 for the Cavs. So yeah, they dominated us down low with the rebounds and the points in the paint. It's too bad. It is what it is. The Raptors season's over. Game 7 happened. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Stargate saying this. It's time we change our attitudes towards everybody, our fans, our media, our players. We need to be fearless and talk loud and not be afraid to call names, especially our media. All right. Oh, Stargate's calling. I guess he wants to elaborate on his comment in person on the air. Let me see. Hello, sir. You're on the Raptor Freak call-in show.
Hey, what's going on?
What's up, man? How you doing this morning on this Monday, Stargate?
I'm well, thanks. I'm well.
Awesome. I have a feeling I know what you want to talk about.
Well, I already said what I had to say.
I saw you in the comments. I saw you in the comments on the highlights on NBA's page. I saw you with the American fans.
Yeah, you know how I feel about that.
I know, and I don't disagree with you, but I appreciate you. I'll say that.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I say this all the time. The Raptors are the most different team in the NBA. We face challenges that no other team in the NBA has faced and will face.
Make sure you're talking into your mouthpiece.
I am. Can you hear me? Check.
Yeah, because it's kind of a little quieter and quieter. Here.
1 1 1 2. Check.
Yeah,
1,
that's
2,
better.
1, 2.
That's better here.
Okay, let me see. Maybe I need to move my location here. Hold on a sec. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's perfect right there.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so like I keep saying that the NBA, that the Raptors are the most different team in the NBA.
Sure.
Right? And, we face challenges and obstacles that no other team faces. No other team. Right? There is no other team in the NBA that face criticism and ridicule from both the American side and the Canadian side.
Yeah.
There is no other team.
Right? I want to talk about this with you guys. I think this is a great subject to bring up while I have Stargate on the phone. What was that punk ass move by MLSE to announce the new general manager of the Maple Leafs 3 hours before we had our Game 7?
I don't even pay attention because I don't give a fuck about the Maple Leafs, so I didn't even know about that. And so people like myself, who don't really fucking follow the Leafs.
I mean, all right, and you're talking because I've seen your comments. In some ways, you're asking Canadian reporters to call out the Americans for their bullshit. You're asking for that. I've seen that.
Yeah.
Well, Josh Lewinberg called it out yesterday about this announcement. He said on Twitter, Blue Skies yesterday after they announced, because they hired Matt Sundin to be player personnel director or some shit, and they got a new guy to be the GM. And Lewinberg said this basically. He called out MLSE and said, "Why are you doing this on a Game 7 day for the Raptors? And it's Sunday. You could announce this on Monday, the next day."
Yeah. Okay.
And it's exactly right. In some ways, this is part of what you're talking about. We deal with it on both the sides. We deal with it from inside our own company.
Yep.
Like this is Keith Pelly and Ed Rogers made this decision. They don't have to do this right then. They are absolutely trying to overshadow the Raptors Game 7 by announcing Leafs front office move like this 3 hours before the game.
Because there are entities that are friends with these guys that are saying, hey, we don't like how basketball is getting so much traction over hockey, right? So much traction over hockey. We can't let this happen.
We got to have a shine on us. We got to get a buzz on us. Why would we do this? To me, it doesn't make any sense because it's the same company. And they're not in competition with each other in a way because it's still all the bottom line for Ed Rogers, right? So you'd want them to both be flourished. But there's probably some hockey people in there that are like, fuck this. We're not in the playoffs. The Raptors are getting all this shine. Look at the crowd. Look at everybody so happy and positive about them and stuff like that. Fuck this. Let's rain on their parade. We're going to hire somebody today and announce it.
Exactly. That's exactly right. But I didn't even know because I don't pay attention
to
hockey. Right? I don't pay attention.
I didn't know about it until I saw it on Blue Skies and Josh was complaining about it. Really, MLSE? You did this today? Really? I mean, it's indicative of what we're talking about. We're not conspiracy theory crazy people. This is exactly a good example of, hockey establishment Canada being afraid of the Raptors and having to have some sort of insecure announcement before the game just to shadow or put, and who knows, the TSN and Sportsnet after that were probably like, yeah, the Raptors in a Game 7, but this is huge news. It's going to be the top story.
I'm sick of it, man. I mean, it's beyond annoying to just being annoying to me.
Well, this is what I would say. This is my advice on this, Stargate, and this is life advice that I use for myself every day. Is once again, it's the serenity prayer. We can't control this kind of shit. We can only control what we can. And we got to say the same thing for Scotty and Jamal. They can only control what they can control. And that's playing their asses off and being badasses, being successful despite all the odds, despite all the misalignments. You know, RJ can't control the narrative about him. So he controls his game, and it changes the narrative.
That's where we disagree. Right? And I'm going to be a little bit like Blackhawk here. Right? Okay. This is where we disagree, right? I think we can change the narrative. I think that we just need, if we had more Lexes, right?
Okay.
More Lexes in the mainstream, people who are not afraid to say the shit that you say, right?
Yeah.
Not afraid, then you will see the narrative change, right? But people like yourself are few and far between. You can't find people like that. Where is our version of Stephen A. Smith? Where is our
I don't know if we want that.
Yeah, we do. We fucking do need that right now.
I don't know if we want that, man. I don't know if we want our version of Stephen A. Smith.
We fucking do. Because Americans do not understand anything other than the shit that they need to get back the same shit.
Once again, you are not understanding the serenity prayer, Stargate, because this is what. No, but listen to me, and this is the difference, and I have to have this for my AA.
I'm 52 years old. I'm a grown man.
No, I know, and I don't want to insult you or anything like that.
Why you follow, you know, people like Tolly and stuff like that, right? Who I can get into the type of person I think. I follow people like Krishnamurti, and I go to the source. You know, Tolly steals all this shit from Krishnamurti. So I mean, I'm not even talking
about Tolle or anything like that. This is AA. I'm talking about AA. I'm talking about shit I learned in the rooms as an alcoholic.
Okay.
So listen to me for a second. The serenity prayer is this, and this is the way that all alcoholics keep away from drinking.
Right.
The rule is you don't give a shit about anything you can't control. Right. Can you control the media? Can you control the U.S. media, the NBA, the referees? Can you control any of that? No, you can't. The only thing you control is what you say and you do.
Right.
And in some ways, that's how you make your own destiny. That's how you stand on your own truth. That's also how, in some ways, you separate yourself from the angst and the anger and the upsetness about the things you can't control. That's the thing. That's what I'm trying to say. And it's not, and the guys you just named and stuff like that, respect for all of them or whatever. What I'm trying to say is you can take this at a personal level if you want. I mean, in a good way, not like personally hurt feelings. For me, this is what's helped me in my life post alcohol to live a way happier life, because it absolves you of responsibility, and it absolves you of saying, well, I'm angsty and mad about this. I wish I could do something about this.
No.
But also at the same time, it's kind of like, well, I have to have the wisdom to understand what I can and cannot control.
Lex, let me cut you off.
And do this.
You're getting it wrong. You're getting it wrong. You think that this is something that I'm thinking. I'm just passionate about it.
No, I know, and I appreciate that, and that's part of the reason why we're birds of a feather.
Basketball has nothing to do with my life. I go on with my life. This has to do with
passion for the game. I know.
Right? So I can separate my life from basketball. I'm not like these little nephews who, you know.
No, I get that.
Correlate.
This is deeper though in some ways. This is just like basic life skills. This is something that if people can learn in general, not just you, I say everybody, they will be happier in their lives.
Okay, I'm happy in my life. This has nothing to do with that. I'm talking about basketball now. This is strictly about basketball and the Raptors.
But the only thing I would say is you're allowing those powers to have control over your emotions.
Okay, you don't understand what I'm trying to say. They don't have power over my emotions. This is what it is. Okay, I am very passionate. When it comes to Canada, I'm very passionate when it comes to Canada.
I appreciate that.
Right? I'm very passionate when it comes to Canada, and I'm very sensitive when it comes to fucking racism as well.
I appreciate that also.
Right? I'm very, 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 very sensitive, and people would probably look at see Stargate posting stuff on thinking, oh, Stargate with the black shit again, right? I'm very, very, very for me, I'm very sensitive to that shit, right? Very, because who feels it knows it, right? And if you notice. Right, there's a lot of you can tell that there's a lot of there's a lot of your black fans here. If you notice, we all kind of on the same wavelength with a lot of stuff, right?
Right.
If you notice,
Yeah.
right? Because of our experience, and we don't expect you on who you are to understand. Like that comment, that thing just made just now, right? That Blackhawk just made just now.
Yeah, yeah.
Right when you first got in, that rubbed you the wrong way and pissed you off. But that's how we as black men talk to each other. We make those kind of fucking jokes.
What was it? What was the exact part? Was it about going to the States?
Joke.
Oh,
joke.
no, I'm more worried about getting flagged and getting watched by the CIA.
I got you with that.
That's what it is.
It's not the sort of thing. He's comfortable enough to sit down. Like, this is the sort of thing that we sit down with when we're with our boys. You know, when we're, I don't drink, so I don't drink alcohol at all. So
yeah.
But when they sit down and we drink and we play dominoes and stuff like that,
okay,
and we make those kind of hard kind of jokes. Yeah, it sounds kind of bad, right? But those are the kind of things, right? And he feels comfortable enough to make that kind of joke with you, right? You should be honored, to be honest.
No, I know, but there's also the factor that I'm autistic and I take things literal. And if he's telling me he's actually going to the States, I actually believe him. I don't know if he's joking. That's part of the problem. Man. That's part of the problem. I'm very sarcastic. Face value. I can't tell if he's being sarcastic. Because to me, I know Neil travels to the States for his job, and he to me, I take him at face value. That's all I can do. I'm sorry. Call me a rube, call me a dummy. But I don't take sarcasm very well because I'm autistic. That's part of the disconnect. Either way, I feel like we're getting off the rails here. My main point is once again, and this is something that I talked about with Adriana and so many different people, and it's made them happier because they realize, okay, yeah, I wish I could do something about this. These people are frustrating. Like, here's a good example. Adriana last night's watching the game. And she has friends that are in her epilepsy social group that aren't Raptors fans. They're only paying attention because it's in the news and it's a big deal. And it's Game 7. And she's watching them in the chat last night, and they bailed on us in the middle of the game. Oh, it's the Raptors is doing what Toronto sports always does.
She was pissed, right?
They're going to choke a Game 7. And, well, Adriana was pissed. You're right.
Yep.
And it's partly because she's been along on the ride with us as a channel this whole year, going to games with me like crazy. And she really has ridden and died with them this year in the right way. And these are casuals that showed up at the end because it's a big deal and it's in the news and they're going to come watch it at the end. And she was so mad at them. She was so mad at them. She wanted to cuss them out. She wanted to tell them, you aren't real ones. You don't know jack shit about this team. You weren't riding with them like I was all year and all this kind of stuff. And I said, it's not worth it. Because first of all, you're not going to change them. All you're going to do is maybe piss some people off and make some enemies towards yourself. And in some ways, it's going to just fall on deaf ears. So I told her, it's like, you can't control them being dumbasses and being these sorry ass people. You can only control yourself. So what you control is where you put your attention. You say, all right, I see this. I accept them for who they are and what they are. And it's not positive. And I move on with my life. And it really helped her because she, in that moment, she was going to jump in there and tear them up. And I was like, no, don't do that because you may burn bridges with people that it's not necessary to. And this is not important enough to do it over. So I don't know. Every case is different. And I understand. Getting back to the original thing, because I think the main topic, what you want to talk about today is the whole thing with is ugly Americans.
No, what I really wanted to talk about, I didn't. I already said what I had to say. What I really wanted to talk about is the team itself, right?
Yeah.
I am very, very proud of these guys. I'm very, very proud of the guys. The way they carried themselves, the way they played, especially somebody like RJ Barrett.
Yeah.
Now, we need to start talking. We always talking about, Mamba mentality and the Rosen code. We need to start something with RJ now. Because
RJ Hart.
RJ Hart, not only that, RJ patriotism. He is playing for. You could tell he's playing for Canada. You could tell.
Yeah.
This is something bigger than just
a game
for him, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you can't get rid of a guy like that. All these people who are saying trade RJ, it's the most ludicrous thing. And even people listen, Lex. If people are telling you, oh, you only like RJ because you're a homer. Yes, you are a fucking homer. Yes, you are.
What is the fan supposed to be?
You know what I'm saying? Yes, and I want him here. Yes, and if you could get SGA and Dylan Brooks and all the rest of them here too, Yes, you would.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, Raptors fans are freaking out because they realize that Vaughn's been coming to the games, and they didn't. They're like, why is SGA's dad at the Raptors games?
Mm.
And he was at courtside, sitting not far from Brian Macon and Alyssa on the edge of the court. And there's a clip of him cheering for the Raptors. And Raptors fans are going to jump to judgment, and they're going to say SGA to Toronto confirmed and stuff like that. But this is the thing. We knew he's been coming to games a lot because, I mean, I knew because Superfan's been hanging out with him at times. Like Monique would tell me, it's like, oh, yeah, I saw SGA's dad at the game, and he was talking to me and stuff like that. No, he's a huge Raptors fan, Vaughn Alexander. He's a huge Raptors fan.
I mean, but I'm proud of these guys. They really played their butts off. And I would caution some Raptor fans, even some of the Raptor freaks, to please stop trying to ship guys out.
Yeah.
I see people in the chat room talking about, oh, let's get rid of Yak, let's get rid of IQ.
Yeah, I've been guilty of the thing with Brandon recently too. And
if they go, they go. That's Bobby's decision.
It's Bobby's choice. It's his job. He's the one who does it. And in some ways, we're fans. We know our job description. And it is to dutiful cheer for our team and ride or die with them through the ups and downs. And if you can't ride with them through the downs, you're not a real one. Just like those people in Adriana's social chat.
This I can say about Brandon this season.
Yeah.
That there is a definite lack of chemistry with the rest of his players. That is for sure.
Well,
that can change.
Yeah, they could change, and it can be developed a bit more.
It can be developed,
and we'll see. We'll see. I love what RJ said after the game, because he said it in his post-game news conference that him and Scotty had instant chemistry all along as soon as he showed up, and you can see it. It's evident. And he was talking about it more like outwardly than I've ever heard him talk about it. He's saying, it's so much fun to play with Scott. And I know that Scott has a lot of fun playing on the court with me also. And, that's something that, they do have a really good synergy. And that is definitely something that should be factored into, along with the intangibles of the heart, the drive, and the passion that's above and beyond that you can't monetarily really factor in.
I don't really see that. I don't see the on-court connection like a Scotty and RJ have.
Yeah, like between Brandon and some of the other guys.
Right, Brandon and Brandon, and like look at Mamu and Shed. Mamu and Shed had a little bit of a chemistry going there, right? Obviously IQ and Yak, obviously.
Yeah, right? There's little pairings that are pretty good. Shed and Walter have a lot of chemistry between each other too. That's obvious. I mean, in some ways, I would say to Brandon
Grady and Jacoby, even Grady and Jacoby.
This is the thing, because and this may not be true at all. There are some allegations that Brandon's kind of aloof and a little bit separate from everybody in the locker room. And, and that seems like that could be true just because he's one of the newer guys. In some ways, he's a superstar in the league already, and he's not totally in the same place mentally as the other guys in the young core. And, I don't know. I would say this, Brandon, you really love being in Toronto. You really love being a Raptor. Change yourself, mutate yourself a bit, whether it's with your game on the court, whether it's finding more established connections with your teammates like Stargate's talking about, or whether it's just thinking about what it really means to be a Toronto Raptor, Brandon Ingram. And training this off season with that in mind is what I'm saying.
I think a lot of people need that. I think a lot of people need to hang out with RJ a little bit more this offseason.
Yeah.
To really understand what it means to play for the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah.
Right?
Because that's the other thing. It's like wildfire. It spreads. RJ's passion, the way he plays, it can get caught on Scotty. And then all of a sudden we see level up Scotty, and he's playing like he's a Canadian from Mississauga.
I think they kind of got it with the whole USA chant and experiencing all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think Shed got it because Shed like he wants to be an honorary Canadian.
Yeah.
I can see Shed.
Scotty got it from the start, man. I mean, he was very open in Twitch the first year after his year. He said all the time, I don't see any difference between the United States and Canada. I don't understand why everybody makes such a big deal out of it. So he doesn't have this dividing line that a lot of Americans have, and it was evident in the game last night. He doesn't have that dividing line in his head. And it's even more established that he doesn't because, he's with a woman from Ontario who is the mother of his child. and you know, his daughter, in some ways, who knows, she may be Canadian, you know?
Yeah.
So
It's true. That's true.
There's a lot more ties that bind him in some ways here, regardless of the relationships and the people that he's met here that he's really bonded with, like Masai Ujiri, Bobby Webster, Darko Rajakovic, Larry Tannenbaum, you know, people like that. So,
yep. And my last point is about Darko. Darko, like the way he improved to me during because I was very critical of Darko like in the beginning, but the way he improved this season, especially in the playoffs, the way he adjusted in the playoffs, like you can't question now that he is.
You have more confidence in him.
Yep, way more confidence.
Way more confidence. You saw real results and adjustments and scheming.
Absolutely.
And honestly, I think this is what I would say about this 7-game series we just wrapped up. The Cavs are lucky. The Cavs are lucky we're just a little bit younger. The Cavs are lucky we're just a little bit more injured. The Cavs are lucky that they just had a little bit more of a record to have home court. The Cavs are lucky.
Even the home court. If Brandon, as poorly as he's played, and Emmanuel quickly were healthy and we had our full squad, they're done in 6. I'm guaranteeing you that team is done.
The game 2 was the one we choked on that we should have gotten.
They're done in 6.
But in some ways, that game 2 was part of the lesson of, hello, this is the playoffs, and this is how it is. Yep. And if you don't play to this certain level, well, you may choke this game, and it may very much matter later in the series.
Yep.
When you're playing to try and win 4 out of 7. Yeah.
Yep. Well,
Stargate,
I'm
man.
Proud of the guys.
What's
I'm
that?
proud of the guys, man.
Yeah, I'm very proud of them too, man. And I'm proud of you, man. I'm proud of everybody in the Raptor Freak family for, you know, like you said you want more people like me out there to speak this. Well, you guys are helping because you are like me and you guys spread the word too. And you know what? We have had an impact. We could talk about how the Raptors Nation was overly toxic after the 2019 championship when there was influx of new fans and all kinds of nephews and casuals. And in some ways, we've got a quality control, at least on this channel.
Yeah.
And in some ways, look, I'm not the biggest influencer in the Raptors world, but I do have an influence in this Raptors world, and I know it. And in some ways, my impact is going in the right direction compared to other people because I want to install a pride in your team and being prideful of being a Raptors fan. Because in some cases, during the era of our history, there were many times people hid the fact that they were Raptors fans because they did want people to know it. Yeah.
And I know that there are people from the Raptors organization, including Darko, that comes on here and listens to this stream from time to time. You know, whether it be Scotty or
it could be a video coordinator or something like that. It's like the guy at the end of the coach's bench. It's like, you got to watch Raptors Freak. You got Raptors Freak duty.
Like, how many times have you said something on the stream and you come right back the very next game and you see exactly what happened?
I mean, I don't, like I said, I don't know if it's just me having the mind that, you know, is like watch a lot of basketball and I see the things I see. And it's just that we're coming to the same conclusions separately, but it is eerie and weird sometimes.
It is very
yeah. And I mean, even Matt Devlin and Jack Armstrong, it's like when they call the game, Alvin Williams, they will say things almost exactly the way I said it in the morning on the broadcast. And I'll be like, whoa. But also I'm thinking, well, that is what they would have to say because this is the settings for the game. But it is kind of weird sometimes. Either way, shout out to the official MLSE Raptors employees that are listening to me, whether it be Matt Devlin, Jack Armstrong, or anybody in the front office or on the coaching staff. Shout out to y'all.
Again, I just before I go, I just caution, you know, especially the Raptor freaks. I don't care about anybody else. Just try to refrain from, you know, the whole trade. Let's trade this guy for this guy. Please.
Yeah, and it's already started. People are all over the social media immediately. Like, what do we do next?
Let's get rid of this.
They got their hands like this and like, oh, I can't wait to see what's going to happen next. Like, what are you fans of? Why don't you go watch, like,
can't afford this and the Raptors can't afford that. Logical
why don't you just watch corporations and their executive teams and watch them trade people or some shit like that? You're not even caring about the Raptors on the court. You only care about transactions and salary cap and trade machine and all this shit. Yeah. I think I lost you more. You seem like you went down a tunnel now.
Yeah, can you hear me again?
Oh, I can hear you now. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah. All right, man.
All right, Stargate. Nothing but love, my guy, and I appreciate it.
Same to you.
And let's keep keeping it real. Seriously, that's what we have to do in this world, right?
Yeah,
Keep it real.
Man.
That's right. All right, Stargate. Blessings.
All right.
Blessings.
Have a good one, man.
Only love, man. I know I'll be talking to my friend Stargate more in the future. That's right.
Man,
respect. Let's go, Raptors. That's right. Awesome. Always cool to hear from Stargate live on the show in the phone. That's right. All right. I better hightail it on my comments. I'm after 2 hours. I'll do a Lexathon, 3-hour stream after the last game of the season. You got to do that, right? So yeah, we talking about Stargate. He's just talking to him. He's saying it's time we change our attitudes towards everybody, our team, our media, our players. We need to be fearless and talk loud and not be afraid to call names, especially our media. But of course, our media doesn't want basketball to overshadow hockey, so they help the anti-Raptors narrative in the States. There's no denying this is true. The way they stack TSN Sports Center and Sportsnet is no denying that they're burying the Raptors and basketball in the NBA in Canada on the priority list, whether it's Leafs, whether it's Jays, whether it's curling, whether it's whatever bullshit. They will find different ways to do this. And well, you're showing your weird worries by doing your announcement yesterday, MLSE, for the Leafs just hours before our Game 7. It just shows just how scared you are, honestly. All right, yeah, let's keep going. Smooth saying Cavs fans are classless. This stuff they were posting online, my gosh. Well, in some ways, AI will enhance the ability to make asses of yourself and make creative images of really insensitive, insulting bullshit. Yeah, the president of the the criminal of the United States is the epitome of this, and he's their leader. So, well, dumbass, inbred people from Ohio, they take their leadership from Donald Trump. Do you expect any less? Is what I would say right there. Yeah. Fiercely saying, I'm proud of Scotty and RJ's pressers and acknowledging they're aware people don't watch us. This is exactly the reason why rookies may react negatively to being drafted by us. They want exposure. Yeah, they want exposure and they want accolades. They want the ability to win and they want the ability to get a good contract. You know, there's all kinds of reasons why it's tougher for us to build a good team, because not only when we do get good players, they're going to actively come and try and hunt for them to come down to the States and come to another team and recruit them out. This is part of the machine that tries to hold us down, and it's bullshit. And that's why being a GM of the Toronto Raptors is one of the hardest jobs in the NBA, because there is a lot of different things you got to factor in and be secure about. And thank God we got guys that aren't lazy, that want to go the hard route and are all for paying it off and doing it this way. This is why we had to have a very top-notch coach. This is why we've had to have a very top-notch front office, because we can't afford to have duds in either one of those positions, because we will lose things like crazy, like the Wizards. And that's what it is right there. That's right. That's right. Stargate saying that's smooth. It was just Cavs fans. I saw Lakers fans and Knicks fans also talk shit. Yeah, it's a lot of this is dumb shit. And I don't want to drum up this whole rhetoric, U.S. versus Canada stuff, because there are powers out there that want to fan the flames and cause more stuff. In some ways, we got to remember also that it really isn't our countries against each other, even though some people want it to be that way. So we don't want to add to it. And to me, all those people are doing that. Once again, we don't know how much of this is actually real, how much is manufactured. There could very well be Russian bot farms trying to enhance aggression against each other, or animosity against each other between Canada and the United States. And they could be invading all kinds of social media spaces just to inflame it, to make it more, like this. And this is an opportunity to do this when a Canadian sports team is playing a U.S. sports team and it gets nationalistic. Well, I wouldn't be surprised. Russian bots are trying to influence all kinds of stuff. Foreign bots are trying to influence all kinds of stuff, as evidenced by the breach of security on X and Twitter, seeing where all those accounts come from, the mega accounts. And then also, accounts on social media for sports. Why would it not be the same? Somebody can pay for a bot farm and they want to do it for propaganda reasons. Well, they can inflame stuff. But yeah, probably a lot of that stuff is actually Americans too, being idiots and ignorant and dumbasses. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. We're the most hated team in the NBA, and it has nothing to do about basketball. I don't even think that's true. I don't think that's true. I think that there's still teams in the league that are more hated than us in reality. It's just maybe on the visible side, it may seem like that. But I think on the down low, teams like the Celtics and the Lakers may be the most hated teams. Seriously. Maybe even the Knicks. We're hated just because we're the Canadian team. That's stupid. And anybody who can watch people for their merits and not judge them by the skin of their color of their skin or where they're from or this or that can watch us and say, no, this is a team to admire and to like. If they just blatantly hate us just because we're the Canadian team, well, that's sad and pathetic. And that speaks more about them, is what I would say right there. Yeah, Stargate saying it's time we take a stand. I don't know what kind of stand we take. All we do is do what we can control. That's what it's trying to say on the phone. And that's train hard, work hard, excel hard, and have success hard and beat their ass, just like in 2019. That's the best success. The best get back is success. And that's what we need to do, even if it's unfair, even if there's more hurdles, even if there's a tougher route. That's why it'll be all the sweeter when we get it again. Like Masai said, this city will win again. And when it does, it'll be all the sweeter because they earned it 10 times more than other people. That's what I'm saying. Kawine and Diane's here. Good morning. Thank you for the subscription. He's saying thoughts on Jakob Poeltl's contract. It's fine. I don't believe all this bullshit that everybody keeps saying. First of all, Jakob's contract will expand with the salary cap. The salary cap is going to expand, and his number won't look that bad. In some ways, we're going to be – the money is so crazy and gross and unbelievably weird in this weird world that we live in of economics where people are getting thrown out of their houses and living in tents. It don't look right that this money's like this, but it's growing. And there's expansion with Peacock and Amazon Prime and everything like that. There's so much more money. And that's the thing that casuals and nephews in our nation aren't taking into account, that it all expands, not just Jakob's contract. The whole NBA's financial system and situation expands. And once again, contracts for Quickly and Jakob were early contracts gotten down quickly and early. And they may look bad early on because we're growing into the new expansion of the money. But you guys don't know what the new contracts are going to look like this summer. And they may look even worse. And we may be very lucky that we nailed down our point guard and our center at the prices we did in the years before. There's a lot of nephew talk about contracts in the Raptors that is so misinformed. We have an expert on our channel called Logical Raptors Fanatic, and he was holding a class last night on our Discord, explaining it all to everybody, that even the stuff with RJ's extension is all bullshit, that we can easily fit RJ into our team, and there's not a tough decision next year about whether to extend him or not. We can do this financially. You can make it all work. As Mike, a.k.a. Logical Raptors Fanatic, put it, he said, look at the other teams around us in the East. Look at Boston. Look at New York. Look at Cleveland. We have one max player, and that's Scotty. And he is at a floor max. So we have all this room to grow and do stuff with our money that nobody talks about. We have way more flexibility than most of the Eastern Conference challengers and contenders. So we're in an extremely good place. That Jakob contract is a fucking bullshit propaganda tool used against us to turn us against our center and make everybody say, we need to trade him. We need to trade him. Don't fall for this shit, Quine and Dime. You're smarter than this. You go listen to U.S. media, the way they cover us, the way those writers write about us on Bleacher Report and ESPN. They're not our friends. That's like taking advice from the enemy and saying, oh, I'm going to believe whatever they say because they know what's best for us because they're the experts. No, they're not. They're not the experts. They don't watch us and they don't pay attention to us. And when they write articles, they're trying to figure out how to write things that are insidious and try and tear us apart and mess us up. So stop being a casual. Stop being a nephew and stop buying the U.S. media's bullshit about Jakob's contract. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It may look weird that he's going to make $27 million in a year or so from now, but the whole NBA is going to have unrealistic money in it to all ordinary people anyway. And that's the thing that nobody says about this whole part. Quickly's contract in particular is going to look so good when the new contracts come out and we got them tied up for those years at the rate we got them at. Because these are all going to balloon and they're going to look good. And like I said, like what the Boston Celtics pay Jason and Jalen and this guy and that guy all this money. We're not paying hardly anybody anything yet. And we still have a lot of flexibility. And it's all been outlined by Logical Raptors Fanatic. I wish he'd still do his channel, his YouTube channel, where he made the clips to educate Raptors Nation on these subjects, because we need Project Truth now more than ever, because there's a lot of U.S. media and even Canadian media that's misleading y'all and lying to you and making y'all think there's a problem where there isn't. That's it right there. Yeah, and you can couple that with my talk about Jakob and how important he was to the series, and the fact that I thought he was the second star of the game last night, and also how the intangibles and the things that he does don't translate to stats. So a lot of casuals and nephews don't think that he's that important to our team. Well, he is. He's extremely important. In fact, he's essential, I would argue. So I would say that. Yeah, Raptors Champs is saying this. Good morning, Raptors Freaks and Champs. Salute to our team and Coach Darko. It's not easy with a depleted team and fraud refs. Yeah, that's a pretty good descriptor for them. I'd like to have more respect for Zach Zarba. For the most part, in the first half, I felt like he was very on the up and up. He was very professional with checking for flagrant fouls and, challenge calls and stuff. He was very fair in some ways, but he was not fair at the beginning of the third quarter. And he was not fair in saddling the Raptors with foul trouble immediately at the beginning of the game. So, yeah, ref manipulations were there for sure. In some ways, they peppered in makeup calls and fairness for both teams. But on the down low, they were holding the hand of the Cavs to the free throw line and also putting foul trouble on a key guy named Scotty Barnes in that game. And those were very manipulative referee tactics right there. Very, very manipulative. Reggie's saying there was an AI post. Well, I just couldn't believe what I saw. We all saw it. I don't even know. I won't say what it is, just to say that it was bad. Very, very bad. Well, xenophobia and American exceptionalism bullshit and looking down on everybody is at an all-time high. Once again, the leadership of that country is setting a tone for a lot of people. He's a horrible influence for young children. He's a horrible influence for people in general. He's a pedophile rapist that probably murdered young women at Epstein's Island. So it's all criminality. I mean, there's a guy that was at a UFC fight with Donald Trump and Donald Trump Jr. just a month ago, and he got arrested in South Florida for prostitution, human trafficking ring. And he's supposedly the best friend of Donald Trump Jr., this guy who just got arrested in a sting by Florida police who, trust me, if they got you, you're a bad dude, because in some ways they look past everybody for the most part. A lot of people can pay to play down there in the state of Florida. Trust me, if you're a criminal, you can get away with stuff. You have enough money. But this guy, they nailed him. And well, he's best friends with Don Jr. Then he's involved in human trafficking and prostitution, just like Epstein was. So it's not like anything's changed. They just have different people doing what Jeffrey does. And it's all behind the scenes, and it's for that class to rape children. Here's another gross thing. Jeffrey Epstein had a dentist office in his house on Epstein's Island to remove the teeth of children so they wouldn't bite them while they were sexually assaulting them. Yeah, that's the kind of fucking people we're talking about with Donald Trump Jr., Andrew Tate, Jeffrey Epstein, and basically the billionaire class and the people running the United States right now. So all the ordinary people, well, they take their direction from pedophiles. And that's the sad thing. And those AI posts, that's indicative of that kind of leadership. That's what it is right there. Fiercely saying this, IQ was sad. Him and RJ were being given a pep talk on the court after the game. Coco hugging Mamu. This gave me sad vibes. Also, Mamu standing and also hugging Grady was heartwarming. Listen, a season is just like kind of being a performer in a play. You have a run. Scotty knows all about these plays. He loves Hamilton. The Hamilton show will run for its Broadway run a certain pound of time. It'll be in Toronto at the Princess of Wales Gate Theater. It has its run. And at the end of the curtain call, there is a cast party, and it's a sad time for the cast. It's a similar thing to this. It's a long run. It's exhausting. And when it comes, you let down your guard of emotion, and you let down the guard of a lot of things because you've been so strong for so long to do what you did all year, 82 games in the playoffs. So that's part of it right there. It's natural. I would say that a lot of what you saw wasn't necessarily sadness, but joy and enthusiasm and excitement for the future. The Raptors in the years of Darko at the end of the year have always had a positive vibe coming in the offseason, haven't they? Even when they only won 25 games. They still had everybody's so happy. Everybody's looking at why is the Raptors so happy? They just had a shitty season and they didn't make the playoffs because the future is bright and they know it and they're excited. And in some ways, even though they're dog tired from playing 7 games against Cavs and losing, they were ready to go back and come back and play right away almost because they are so excited about what they're building. That's what I'm saying to that right there. That's right. Shaq Lindsay is excited to see what the future holds. Raptors fans, hold your head up. The future is bright. We exceeded all expectations. I hope ESPN or any of those sports writers will forecast our win total. I appreciate you, Shaq Lindsay, Fiercey, Smooth Brown Man, Isaac, so many different people that support this channel as a monthly subscriber. I appreciate you guys. Yeah, I hope they give us more respect. In some ways, they say, well, you have to earn it to get the respect. But then next year, you don't give us any national TV games, and we'll hear the same stupid thing, Ernie Johnson. Well, they have to play good for them to get TV on there. Well, we played good. Are you going to give us games next year? We'll see if you guys put us on the U.S. national television schedule for next season in any kind of proportional way to how we perform this year. You better not be shading us like Charlotte Hornets and other teams that didn't even make the playoffs. We were a playoff team straight up, and we took the Cavs to 7 games. And people have given you a comment card after watching our series and say, yeah, we'd like to watch more Raptors basketball. So, yeah, national televisors next year, get with the program. And, well, if I see the same kind of number that I've seen the last couple of years, I know that it was never about whether we're good or not. You're just going to ignore us and put us out anyway. It's the whole part of the plan. That's it right there. That's it right there. That's right. Smooth saying, I think Mamu is gone. He just didn't show what they needed to a respectable amount. Knowing them, they won't do it. They won't, but we do care. I don't think so. That Harden stuff. Okay. Yeah. Okay. No, to a respectable amount, knowing that. Oh, wait. Oh, okay. Those are 2 different comments. All right. I'll start with Smooth. He's saying, I think Mamu is gone. He just didn't show what he needed. Once again, I don't like y'all piling on Mamu just because he had limited minutes in the series. In some ways, he didn't get the runway or the time to have his normal production in the postseason. He was fine. He was very fine. And this whole year, he's been very successful. It's just we got to find the right mark between what he'll take to stay here and what Bobby can give him with the salary cap in mind. That's all. We're going to see. We may be very happily surprised that he is back on the team next year. So let's not count this out. I know he definitely wants to be on the Raptors again, but a lot has to be worked out to figure this out. Let's see. Shaq Lindsay saying to a respectable amount, knowing they won't, but we care? I don't think so. Once again, we can work in the shadows. It works to our advantage, also a detriment. We work in the shadows. They don't understand us. They don't see us. We blindside them and we kick ass. And we do that all the time. Either way, we got to gain the advantage of whatever it is if we can't control it, right? That Harden stuff was by accident, not intentional. Running over Darko. I think you're right. Neil's saying this. Strus was either on drugs or Kenny pumped him up. Yeah, I don't know if he was on PED. I think he was just hype. It's a game 7. He was playing all out. And like I said, Heat culture is in his training because he was on the Heat and he did play a lot of very important scrappy games for Miami and Eric Spoelstra in his past. So G saying this. That's the only time I wish Scotty flopped after the headbutt. Yeah, no, it was too clear cut that like he didn't need to flop. In fact, the no sell is not a big deal there. It was more that the no sell of Colin when he got grabbed around the neck. That was the problem. The no sell of Colin. That was what Reggie was talking about. All right, we got a caller on the air. This is our 4th caller of the day. You're on the air.
Yo, what's going on? You guys are good?
Yeah. Is this the sheriff, Seymour Pape?
Yeah.
Yeah. How's work? How's you're at work this morning? How's the warehouse?
Yeah, it's all good. I just threw up some shots. I'm just here listening to y'all. I just want to say, man, like we're not running a dictatorship here. People are telling people, let's not talk about this. Let's talk. We're in the off season now.
Yeah.
The season's over.
Yeah.
So unless we're running some sort of dictatorship like Trump, who are we to tell people what they can't want and this and that? Like, come on, let's just be reasonable here.
This is a good counterpoint.
I'm just saying, this is not a dictatorship.
Yeah.
Like, for real.
I would say this. I would say this. I think you're right. I think you're right. But I would also say,
we
like,
can't tell people what they want and don't want, and don't say this. There's no rules.
I would say this though. I would say this, Seymour. It's not necessarily saying don't if you don't want to do this or that. He's saying if you really want to be a true one like this, in some ways you don't get into those matters because it's not your job. I think that's what it is.
The thing is Bobby is the one who pulls the trigger for us. Person wants to come online and say, hey, trade Yak or trade IQ or trade Scotty, whatever they want. That's their opinion. We're not holding guns to nobody's heads here. There's not a dictatorship.
Yeah.
Right? We got to respect everyone's opinion because who knows?
No, we don't. We don't have to respect everybody's opinion.
You don't have to respect it, but everyone's entitled to their opinion.
Even then, I don't necessarily agree with that either. Because if they're not qualified and they don't know what they're talking about, they shouldn't be entitled to their opinion.
Well, then that's where you come in and you fact check them on it.
I just say it. I know what your point is, and I agree with you. I think that dictatorship is awful in every kind of way. And I think in some ways you're indirectly reacting to something that was said by Stargate earlier. What I would say is this. I think that what Stargate's mission was, what we were saying was, if you really want to be a good fan for this team, you don't get bogged down in all that kind of stuff. Because in some ways, as I've said on this channel, it's just not necessary. It's just hot air. It's like, go ahead, tell us all this. Okay, is this going to matter? In some ways, maybe the court of opinion is listened to and it is factored in. And then Bobby's like, okay, yeah, we need another center. That's what the Raptors fans are doing. Okay, I'm going to go do this. If they're hearing over and over again, trade RJ, trade Jakob, trade Emmanuel, do you think Bobby's actually listening to them and saying, oh, because they can have an influence, I guess. But I'm just like, why are you doing this? Because in some ways, to me, and this goes back to what Rowan Barrett Sr. said, why are so many of the fans against my son? Because he's online seeing all these jackasses saying all this shit. And in some ways, it hurts his feelings because his son was a diehard Raptors fan and he loves his team and he's so happy he's here. But these fans are rejecting him and telling him, oh, his contract's not worth it. We need to trade him and stuff like that. These guys are human. They have feelings. And all these jackasses that just come out there anonymously and write shit on the keyboards, they're assholes. And half of them don't know what they're fucking talking about. And this is why we say this. It's not necessarily we don't want to be controlling of people's lives. It's just we think that a lot of the shit they say is extraneous and unnecessary and honestly toxic and harmful. So that's why we say it. You guys go ahead and say it.
I got a different point of view on things. I'm not here to cut anybody's tongue off.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
You know, people can say what they want. It doesn't mean that what they say is going to happen. If a person comes on here and says this and that, at the end of the day, it's you guys just went over control what you can control. Yeah. Right? It doesn't mean control somebody else's life.
Well, that means I'm going to control myself to not even listen to these people or not even go look at them or not have anything to do with them.
You a real one. That's what makes you a real one when you have self-control. Right? So back to what I was saying. The effort I seen, I didn't like. And like I said,
in which part and what department? Like I want more specifics because this is interesting.
Going at the stars. Look, I'm trying to get there. I'm going at the stars. There's no way Wade should be locking up BI. There's no way Stu should be stealing the ball from Scotty. Like to me, it just looked. I felt like we were the Iran to the playoffs. That's what I feel like. There was no chance for us to win. Like
don't bring that war into this. That unjustified war. Don't bring that into this.
Oh my God!
Because we're way more powerful. We're way more powerful than this. Like we're way more powerful than that kind of a thing. In some ways, I don't even want to talk about that. That'll make me mad. Listen, I'll say this: we were the more talented team, fully healthy. They can say that they were the more talented team. The press can say that. I don't believe that. And also, I don't agree with what you're saying about the fact that you think that they didn't give the right effort. Listen. A bad day, a wrong clock is right twice a day, right? A broken clock. Stu stealing the ball from Scotty, that is an anomaly. That's going to happen from time to time. And, you know, the thing about Brandon getting locked up by Wade, that's actually Wade is an underrated defensive player. And in some ways, Brandon, you're right. He should have been able to beat Wade. You're right. But I'm not mad at these guys for their effort. They played their asses off. And honestly, they were exhausted by the end of this thing. And they really did put it all out on the court. So I just don't see it the same way as you. And I'll allow for us to disagree and not see the same thing. I am so proud of them. They left it on the court, and I do not see any of them not trying.
Yeah, I didn't see that effort like what I've seen at home for us and stuff. I wasn't happy with the effort. And
I say game 1 and game 2, maybe. I'll say that for those 2 games, they learned and they say, well, the effort has to be a little bit higher after these first 2 games.
There's just certain things I've seen. It was just unacceptable. Like game 7, and I don't know. But at the end of the day, on a whole, I'm happy with the performance of the team.
It's been a good year.
They went past expectations for sure. But when it came down to it, I didn't like what I've seen for game 7. I didn't like it.
Well, I'm going to do what I normally do. I'm going to protect them because I don't feel like it was their fault. A lot of it was a referee hit job with the association script writing for the Cavs to get in the next round.
Of course. I didn't think my points, I'm not going to put my points in because I'm not trying to get nobody cheese today. So it is what it is.
If you want to, seriously, because I don't want it to be like what you're saying when you started the call. Like, what is the one main point you would want to say? Actually, let's do 4 quarters. You want to do it, man? I owe it to you. You want to do 4 quarters?
Nah, not today.
All right. Do it today. We'll just do one real quick. Just give me just one of them. And I promise I won't get cheese. If I disagree with you, though, that's allowed, right?
I'm just saying, before the game even started, I've seen certain programs were talking down on Harden. Oh, let's question their Hall of Fame ability if they lose to Toronto. Like, the disrespect that we face is unreal, yo. For real. It's totally unreal.
I get that. In some ways, I know this phenomenon you're talking about. This is the kind of stuff that gets Luke Walton fired as the Sacramento Kings coach when we beat them. It's this kind of thing. Like, in some ways, this is the thing. We can't control this. In some ways, we can game it to our advantage. Like, I've likened us to a poison-tipped basilisk. Somebody messes with us, and we mess them up, and, well, we can poison them where they're in trouble because they would be tainted like this. I get what you're saying. But it's be the same if it was Orlando. It's not just because it's us. If the matchup had been Cleveland versus Orlando and it'd be flipped and we were playing Detroit and the same thing happened with the Magic, they would be saying the same thing. It's not particular to us. It's because in some ways they have a tier in their minds of the best teams in the East, and Cleveland's been in that tier above, and we're in the middle, just like teams like Atlanta and Orlando. And the whole premise of like, oh, Cleveland's just going to sweep the Raptors. Well, I'm proud that didn't happen. And in some ways, that's what they're trying to say. Oh, they should have swept them, and that's why we look down on them. I think in general, the whole part of us being involved in that equation isn't not necessary. It's, in fact, it could be if Cleveland loses to NBA team X in the first round and James Harden and Donovan Mitchell are on it and they fail, well, that's the storyline. It's not necessarily that it's us. It's not necessarily as us. They're in trouble either way, just because of their reputation and their history. That's why that bag comes around, and it doesn't necessarily have to do with us or sullying us. It's just the fact that if the Cavs, who have a home court advantage in the first round, if they lose in the first round with 2 guys that are supposedly Hall of Famers, that looks really bad, and it adds to the legacy of their failure that they already have in their career. That's really what that energy is. And it's not necessarily anything to do with us. So that's what I would say to that. But either way.
It's pretty stressful to be a fan of the Raptors right now because all the cards were stacked against us. He made a great, Stargate made a great point when he said, why not just announce the hiring on the Monday? So,
yeah.
We got stress coming from inside of our we're facing adversity from a whole nother country.
Yeah.
And they're going through a war right now. They're going through a war, so they're not trying to see themselves losing nothing. That's the
it's all patriotic, dumb American exceptionalism propaganda bullshit. It's the stuff that I grew up in. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, listen, this may be in some ways something that you're dealing with more in your face now. But this is something I've known about since 1999. I've been dealing with this shit from the inside with MLSE, from working for them back then and seeing it as an employee and being like one of the very few that understood this stuff and wanted to talk about it. And you got to understand, when I was working at Scotiabank Arena, aka Air Canada Center at the time, almost all of the other employees that I worked with were Leafs first. And I was the one guy in the whole staff that was Raptors first. And I turned a bunch of people while I was there. You know, a lot of guys that I worked with in the food and beverage department started becoming more Raptors fans because they saw my passion. And so I seen it. It's been this way the whole time. And that's why, you know, Vince leaving, going through that era, and then Chris Bosh, and then the build up with DeMar and Kyle and Dwayne Casey, and then the championship is so rewarding to me because none of this is new to me. It's just that it's more out in front of us so we can see it right in front of us. It was always there behind the scenes the whole time. And in some ways, we're more powerful and more equipped to deal with it because we are aware of it more. And in some ways, we have more capable people in there. This is why I love Tim Lewicki so much. This is why I love Masai Ujiri so much, because they separated things and made things possible within MLSC for the Raptors to have a separate identity, to build this We the North culture, and to have the success we've had in the 15 years since. So it's been a struggle for a long, long time, and we've gained a lot of traction. And in some ways, we're more powerful now than we ever have been in the 31 years of Raptors basketball. So I look at it from that side of things. Some of it is dark and scary, and it makes you think, well, there's so much against us. But I would also argue there's a lot of people out there that identify with being in that position, and it gravitates them towards being fans of our team. And that could be in any corner of the world. And that's why we have fans in every arena when we show up as the road team, you know? Because some people identify with that fight and that struggle against the odds and say, you know what? That's a team that I can get behind because nothing's easy for them. And they have to do everything to get everything they get. That's right. Yeah, Seymour, man, I love you, man. I love talking to you, man. Any more points you want to make real quick?
Nah, yo, just keep doing what you do.
I appreciate it.
And just know you're greatly appreciated and loved out here.
You are too, man. I love you too, man. Listen. This is why we got to do this. You know, Sarge said something once in the comments on Fred's podcast thing. He said, you know, there are other teams in this league than the Raptors. And I said, listen, if nobody does what I do with the Raptors, nobody's going to do it. So somebody's got to do it.
Real shit.
And don't fucking come at me and say, oh, you're a homer for the Raptors. You only care about the Raptors. Motherfucker, y'all disregard and ignore us so much. The power that I do and what I have to do is necessary in this world. And that's what I say to that. Yeah. So, Seymour, it's nothing but love, man. Get those shots up.
Man. I hope y'all have a great day and hold it down.
Get those shots up, and let's go tempo. Yeah. And CBL's coming too, man. You're going to get that Calgary Surge going and the Scarborough Shooting Stars. That's right.
Yeah.
All right, my guy.
All right, peace.
Peace out. We love the Sheriff, Seymour Pape, the City Slicker, holding it down out west. All right, let me keep going, man. Let's see. Shaq Lindsay saying we went out with grace. Boston, what a disgrace. Orlando, what a waste. I know we could have been a flub like Orlando, and they're a joke. Orlando took it to 7 games, but they're not having the same effect as us in the day after. They are in shambles. They're thinking about what do we got to do because we are a mess. We're all messed up. So at least in some ways, we got out with grace and a little bit more dignity and all kinds of other stuff with our series and what happened. Boston, wow. Nick Nurse beat your ass. And Magic, you shouldn't be feeling so good about what happened with y'all in this postseason. No, and especially near the end of the season, the regular season too. Yeah, there could be other ways that things happen. That's right. There could be other ways. Smooth saying the second half of that game, I really felt the Raptors gave up. I will say this, their energy was weird after the half. Like they didn't have to get up and go like they did in the first half. And I sometimes wonder, okay, conspiracy theory, could they be so dirty that they would release some sort of gas into their locker room during the halftime just to sedate them slightly? Like in some ways, I mean, would teams do this? The Boston Celtics do crazy shit like this. Have something and it comes through the ventilation. And maybe this is a little bit, this makes them a little lackadaisical. And they come back out there. That's conspiracy theory. But that's also me in the realm of possibility saying, well, because they look like night and day. And the energy exerted and how they run around on the court between the second quarter and the third after halftime. And you couple in the Raptors doing getting a hit job by the refs and everything's a touchy foul and all those kind of things. Yeah, there's a lot to it in some ways. They did look like they had less energy and they weren't working as hard after halftime. I will agree with that, but I'm wondering why, because that doesn't make sense. I mean, there is the classic Raptors come back from half, and they're not totally at the same energy they were in the first half. That has happened this year at times. So maybe it just reared its head for a little bit. It could also be give more credit to Kenny Atkinson and the Cavs that they came back ready to punch us in the mouth right away in the beginning of the third quarter. So there's a couple of ways of looking at this. That's right. Yeah, I had to keep reminding myself they were not supposed to be in that position at Game 7. Exactly. Everything was house money. We were playing at such a place where nobody counted us to be there. That's for sure. KT's here. Good to see Kareem Thomas, a dunk champion of this channel. Awesome work, guys. Silver lining with some injuries, and Colin Murray-Boyles stepped up when Yak was out during the season. And Jacoby shed in the absence of BI quick. Man, what will this look like if Shamshe was around? There's all kinds of woulda, coulda, shouldas we could do. There's all kinds, for sure. All right, we're going to get a call back. All right, this is maybe the first time on the channel. We're getting a second call in from somebody who called earlier.
Big breaking news, man. You got to check it out. Big breaking
What is it? All right, let me go look. Let me go look at this real quick, and we'll see. All right, I'm going to go to Blue Skies. Stargate is telling me there's big breaking news. Oh, my God. No shit. This is horrible. So they're saying that Masai Ujiri has been hired by the Dallas Mavericks to be the lead executive, and this just came out 5 minutes ago. Okay, so this is weird. Man, Masai, you can go work for the genocide? Seriously? What is this, my guy? Yikes. So Masai Ujiri is now taking a job with the Mavericks, and he's going to be the lead executive. That's not really the job. He's not the GM. He's not the president. I don't know how long this will last, guys. All right, let me give my my total unbridled raw reaction. This is a mistake for Masai because the Mavericks are a mess. First of all, the big problem with the Mavericks is their ownership. Yeah, and it's not just because of her politics and her genocidal ways. It's Patrick Dumont is a meddler. This won't be like Larry Tannenbaum and Bell and Rogers that Masai got to deal with. This is going to be a meddler, a guy who's going to be in the middle of everything, deciding everything over Masai. Masai can give suggestions. Masai can say he wants this and that. But Patrick Dumont has shown already a pattern that he will disregard and just make the decisions he wants to make. The Nico Harrison thing is interesting and weird. So this guy's going to replace Nico Harrison? Man, this is a mess. I think that this is a misstep by Ujiri, and I'm disappointed in him, honestly, because he shouldn't be associated with that owner of that team. They may be paying him a lot of money. I don't know. This is a Band-Aid on a missing limb. Honestly, this isn't going to fix this situation. I could see it from the Mavericks side of things that they want to try and fix things because they really are screwed up. And if they think Masai is just going to be an end-all, be-all solution to everything, you're crazy. Because first of all, a culture's already been set in Dallas. Masai's not going to set a new culture. Second of all, he's going to have people meddling with him right next to him. In fact, that position is a weird position. Lead executive? What does that mean? What the fuck does that mean? You know, he's primary owner or principal owner of the Tempo, and he's lead executive of the Dallas Mavericks? What does that mean? I think that, man, they must have thrown a huge amount of money at Masai. And, I'm disappointed in Ujiri is what I would say. I'm disappointed in him for who he's willing to go work for. And I'm disappointed that he's dumb enough to take a shitty job that's going to make him look bad in his legacy, because that's what's going to happen. He's going to fail there, and it's going to look bad for him. That's the sad thing. You have an unblemished record. In some ways, your record is so good, Masai. Why would you do this? You're going to mess up your reputation. And in some ways, look, we're going to compartmentalize your Raptors chapter away from this. And this could very well be, you're going to look like Michael Jordan and Washington Wizards is basically what I'm going to say right here. Wow, that is huge breaking news. And I appreciate Stargate for calling me and let me know that happened there. I really do. I appreciate that. All right, I got to keep going, man. I'm really not getting far on things in the right way. As far as with the chat, I need to really rush through. No more comments, please, for sure. We are definitely full up on the comments, and I have other segments to do real quick. But that's huge news. In some ways, it's very surprising, And in some ways, I feel like this is stupid as fuck by Masai. This is so dumb. Straight goods on Canadian goods, guys. Fresh Burger. Fresh Burger was born in 2013 after a fruitless search for a good old-fashioned hamburger. During the days in the financial industry, Jacques, the creator of Fresh Burger, traveled the world and discovered that the best food anywhere in the world could be found in restaurants that had a limited menu. With the hamburger being one of his favorite foods, Jacques frequented many hamburger spots during his travels. Back home in Toronto, the inability to find a well-made classic hamburger was particularly frustrating to him. Despite Toronto being a hub for restaurants and hamburgers, he simply could not find the delicious old-fashioned fresh burger he was seeking. It felt as though restaurants were trying too hard to be different and innovative, overcomplicating a simple concept. So he has made Fresh Burger, and there are locations all over the GTA. So yeah, check out Fresh Burger, a good Canadian burger company and one of the best burgers in Canada. That's right. We got the Toronto Tempo Redditor of the day. It's Kerfuffles again. And Kerfuffles has notes from today's practice from Chelsea Light. Today at Tempo practice, we got to speak to 3 newest additions to camp, Nina Milic, Maria Conde, and Kitty Laxa. All 3 were very recently finished their seasons in Europe and have arrived to camp for the last few days before the season starts. Brondello yet again called Maria Conde the best European player to never play in the WNBA. My first impression of Conde was that she is full of energy, excited about the system here, and ready to finally play in the WNBA. That's cool. I'm glad that she's finally here. Conde told us her biggest asset to this team in the early days will be her ability to adapt to whatever they need her to be. She's a big wing. Brondello mentioned throwing her in a few post actions during practice today, and she responded well to that. She's tall for a wing. Maria Conde also joked about technically being a rookie, but she's played pro for a really long time. Most W players have played in Europe have faced her. She said she feels ready to take on the WNBA now, and she has the pace and poise needed to really contribute. And also, Milic adds some needed size to this roster as well, and just finished playing with Julie Alamal in Turkey. She's been told many great things about Toronto and is excited to check out the Serbian community she's heard is strong there. So there you go. That's the Toronto Tempo Redditor of the day, Kerfuffles80, with notes from yesterday's practice. And the 3 Europeans have come over, Laxa, Conde, and Milic. Those 2, Milic and Conde, are going to be really important for the size that we were talking about with the WNBA power rankings with the Tempo and their lack of size past Teme. It's going to be really important to have Maria Conde and Nina Milic out there providing rebounds and size and defense for Sandy's team. Yeah, there's your Toronto Tempo Redditor of the day. Y'all, we're going to start this fantasy league for WNBA this week. So be ready to set your lineups if you are one of the teams that we have playing. Yeah, I hope Shamshay comes back, Kareem. I really do, man. Let's see. KT saying, only thing I'm kind of upset about is that Jared Allen totally outclassed Yak in the second half. Yeah, there were times where Yak was better than Jared, but most of the time Jared was better than Yak. Well, either way, it is what it is. Jared Allen had a very good game yesterday. He had one of the games of his life, according to Kenny Atkinson, and it happened in Game 7 to help them win. So it is what it is. Kalois here. Good morning, everyone. A lot of questions was answered this postseason. Darko can coach in the playoffs. This young core are playoff risers. Now it's Bobby's turn. There you go. Candy. Good game saying, I hope Allen tries that foolishness on Isaiah Stewart. Oh, the thing that he did Jacoby at the end of the game. Yeah, big respect to RJ Barrett for standing. Shaq Lindsay saying, Manu isn't going anywhere. The opportunity is here. So go somewhere else. You'll just get lost in another roster. It's hard to find your footing once you establish it. That may be true, and that may be factored in his decision on whether he's going to leave the Raptors or try and get a huge paycheck somewhere else. That may be true. He may just get money and he doesn't play as much, Reggie's saying this. He's going to get a big deal somewhere else. Raptors can't pay. Well, we don't know that for sure, Reggie, and we don't want to totally Eeyore it. There may be a way that it works out. We'll have to see, unless he's willing to take a minimum. Well, I don't know if he's willing to take a minimum, but there may be a medium sized number that fits the right thing for what he wants too. So we'll have to see. Let's not expect anything yet and just see how it goes. Like I didn't expect Masai to take a job with the Mavericks today. It's crazy. In some ways, I am very disappointed. But once again, I can't control this. It's sad. In some ways, I'm like, I wish he wasn't slumming with that team. I don't think that they're going to turn it around or get better. In some ways, it's weird. It's like, okay. It's probably because the Raptors finished last night. He came off a contract finally. And this is probably the first day he could sign with somebody because the Raptors season ended last night and he was still under contract with Rodgers, even though he didn't work for us this year. That's kind of interesting. So he may have had this lined up for a little while, and he could finally announce it after the game was over last night, because the timing does kind of lend me to believe that right there. Let's see. Grady looks out of the loop. We'll just have to see what happens with Grady. He has a lot of work to do this summer to prove himself for what he needs to be. That's right. He's not worth a crazy money deal. Mamu, I agree with that. Neil saying Raptors need stronger, dynamic centers. Game 6 and 7, Raptors were heavily out-rebounded. Once again, they were dirty, they were holding, and they were crowding. And their emphasis for what they were doing was in that. And not only that, the Cavs have been a strong rebounding team, one of the best rebounding teams in the league the whole entire year. So this is a strength of theirs that they've had. And this is in some ways not surprising. Let's just say that. G saying, I heard Shamshay was at game 6. Is that true? Maybe. I hope he was. I really would like Shamshay's passion for Pascal Siakam, the Toronto Raptors, and Masai Ujiri to come through, and that he just returns to us, hopefully this season coming up, and he just had 1 year out, and that's it. He's such a young guy. He can catch up on the lost time and probably still be okay because he's still very young. He's only like 21, right? Neil's saying this, the first round pick we have will be great for a rebounder over 6'9". Yeah, we're going to be picking at 19. Some people will be like, oh, no, that's no good. But, hey, we got Jacoby there. And once again, I'll say, like a lot of people are saying, Raptors had 2 guys that were huge in the playoffs this year, Colin Murray-Boyles and Jacoby Walter and Jamal Shed. And none of these, look at where they were picked. Colin Murray-Boyles top 5? No, he was 9. Is Jacoby a lottery pick? No, he was 19th. The same pick we're picking this year. And Jamal Shed, second round pick. So come on, it's about how you draft. That's right. Master KQ3NW, thank you for the subscription. He's saying this was a great season for Toronto. Thank you. I agree. I'm totally with you on that opinion. Kaloy saying I'm really amazed on how Scotty developed and how this front office saw all of this. Yeah, the vision for Scotty and who he becomes is not totally seen by Scotty. It's seen a bit by Brian Macon, but it's very much fully seen by Darko Rajakovic. And that's why he keeps giving us the updates. I think that Scotty is still only 60% of what he can be. And he's not even close to totally what he could be. That's right. Good game saying they fired the coach in Orlando. So Jamal Mosley did get fired. I kind of expected this. Neil saying this. We have an open 2-way spot for Shamshay. Why? Oh, yeah, because A.J. Lawson got converted to a full roster. That's right. So we could do that. Well, hopefully that happens. Stargate saying, Neil, I have always agreed with you on that, sir. We need more 6'11", 7-foot plus centers. No, not 6'9" undersized hybrids. Yeah, and we saw that with Colin, him not being able to be totally effective at stopping Jared Allen with his shots over him. We saw that with that. Yeah, I believe Shamshay is coming back. I hope he is. I don't want to get everybody's hopes up. He has been wearing Raptors training gear this whole season, even though he's not officially with our team. So that's a good nod. And he has stayed in Canada. And in some ways, he's just a kid who came straight from Cameroon to Canada. And he doesn't have a whole lot of ties with any high school or university in the United States. So there are a lot of things in our favor for this. Now, Masai showing up in Dallas. I don't want to see Shamshay in a Mavericks jersey. That's what I say right there. That's right. Randolph saying Magic fired Jamal Mosley after first round playoff defeat. That's right. I would make an exception for Morez Johnson Jr. Okay, that's a draft pick, and I don't even know where we're picking. Smooth saying if he's going to be anywhere near where we're picking. Remember, Shamshay, if he returns, will be a year behind his development like Koloko. Yeah, but he's younger than Koloko, and he can catch up easier. Trust me. And a lot of people are sullying Shamshay, saying he was no good, and that's why we got rid of him. That's not true. He's very, very good, and we do need to try and get him back. Trust me. Neil's saying we basically made it through round 1 without our main point guard, so fixing rebounding will go a long way. Yeah, and this should be a priority this summer. Bobby Webster is what I would say. Shaq Lindsay saying Sandro will sign 1-year deal for the minimum. Sandro's game excelled under Darko, but more important with the roster, there's certain things you can't replace no matter how much it costs. The trust and respect from the coach and the players. You can't get that just anywhere. I will agree with you, but also the priorities of the player change from year to year. And it could very well be it's time for him to cash out. Cool Cat saying this. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Good morning to you, Cool Cat. Only good vibes and good, healthy, all good things to our friend, the coach, Cool Cat. Congrats to our young guys in achieving the goal, making the playoffs, and giving us fans a great season. Continue building the team. I love that. That's awesome. Shaq Lindsay saying respect. Oh, I already read that. Neil saying Mamu has to be a small forward, power forward. Using him as a center hang on, it jumped ahead. Using him as a center. Oh, man, there's so many comments. We really need to ask a bunch of comments, guys. I don't want to have so many comments because I'll be in 4 hours if we don't. You guys get rid of some of the extraneous stuff. If it's repeating anything that we haven't covered, go ahead and take it out now because I don't have. I want to finish up, man. This is crazy. I know it's the last game of the season and we should figure out all this, but still, let's see. Mamu has to be a small forward, power forward. Using him as center is not ideal. We talked about it on the phone. Yeah, edit y'all's comments and see which ones are absolutely adding something new, and I'll read it still. But otherwise, if you have comments up still in the chat and I get it to it and it's kind of repeat, it's just dragging me out. Let's see. Stargate saying we went out with our heads high, yes, and did better than a lot of favored teams, but you would never know it the way both mainstream sports medias treat us. Well, they're always going to game it against us. The most important thing is fans like us are seeing this and we're doing our part and we're proud of them. And that's all that matters. We're the fans of the team. We're the ones that matters. You know, a lot of experts in the NBA got their eyes open to us now. So it's not totally true. There are a lot of people talking us up. But, you know, we have the right. I think overall, the message from Raptors fan nation is positive and good. And not a lot of people are doomsday falling out, crashing out, like maybe Magic Nation or Celtics Nation right now. So I think that we're okay. I don't think this is as bad as some years it could be. I think most people, sane people, are very proud of their team. And they're very happy with this season for the Raptors. So Shaq Lindsay saying culture is not built overnight. Not every team has it. Yeah, I'll agree with this. And these are factors Mamu needs to consider with his decision. I think Mamu resigning with the Spurs, they want him back. Being in Texas, there's no state tax, so he's more money. Okay, that is a possibility that could happen, but who knows? Maybe the Spurs don't necessarily have the room for him. Shaq Lindsay saying he hardly got any playing time with the Spurs. Now that the Spurs are even younger with more talent, do you think he'll get any? That's a good counterpoint to Reggie's point from Shaq Lindsay. I could see that. Kelly got hardly any playing time if that's what he wants. Well, Kelly's a different player at a different time in his career, and that's not a good gauge for this. But the point is right, though, that they have a lot of young talent, and it'd be very hard for Mamu to probably carve out a spot in the rotation going back there. Either way, this is extra speculation. None of this is true, and it hurts my heart to talk about it. And you know, even though Reggie can talk about state tax in Texas, and he want to go back there for that, it hurts my heart, Reggie. It hurts my heart. And that's part of what I was trying to say earlier in Stargate also, is we don't need to do this trade talk and speculation talk. Let's just see how it all goes down. You know what I'm saying? Just like reacting to Masai, the lead executive for Dallas Mavericks, which is so weird, man. In some ways, it don't make no sense. He's not the general manager, right? What is the title? He's the lead executive? What does that mean? He's going to set the culture? We the Texas? We the genocide? Is that what you're going to do, Masai? You're going to come down there and say, we the genocide. Okay. That's not good branding. It's kind of opposite what your normal is. How do you reconcile Mandela with the Israeli owners that are killing Palestinians, Masai Ujiri? In some ways, I look at this situation, I say, man, you're a sellout, bro. How could you go work for Adelson? Seriously. Like, I lose respect for you today, Masai Ujiri, because you're going to work for a genocidal bitch. Like, seriously, what is this, man? All right, let me keep going. Let's see. We have to make 2 roster spots for our picks. Mama walks, we're fine. Okay, this is over speculation. Let's see. Stargate saying Blackhawk agree with Mama and the same with Colin. Too small to be a center. Randolph saying blessings, beloved Raptor freaks. What lessons have you learned from what you've experienced? Be not discouraged, with your head held high and with renewed faith, build a higher, brighter future. I love that. Blessings to the Phillips family, all the Raptor freak families. Neil saying Cleveland Cavs fans are trash. They need to be re-educated by Buffalo Sabres fans. Yeah, the Buffalo fans are very classy. We appreciate them. Let's see. Which Kelly is. He's a solid piece off our bench. That got plenty of playing time. Why would he go from that to playing hardly on a Spurs team? It sounds like a minimum contract. Yeah, once again, y'all are talking about an imaginary thing that hasn't happened, so I don't really want to spend time on it. Smooth saying, Lex, Dan Gilbert, Cavs owner, posted 12 minutes to go. Send them back to Canada. Okay, well, it's a much better place to live, Dan Gilbert, than the United States, which is a surveillance state just waiting to be latched onto all y'all down there, and mass incarcerations for people that disagree with the powers that be. Yeah, there's no freedom and democracy in the United States anymore. So Dan Gilbert, you go ahead and feel like you're land of the cowards and the home the land of the incarcerated and the home of the cowards is what y'all are now. Seriously, stand up for your country, Dan Gilbert, and you are the billionaire oligarch class. Fuck you, is what I would say. Send us back. Good. Buy our ticket, okay? And we'd be happy to get out of your hellhole of a country immediately. Seriously. Kaz is saying, good morning, Lex and Raptor Free Crew. Stargate saying, if Eddie Boy has any national pride, he would take that Dan Gilbert comment personally. Millionaires are very competitive with each other. Well, the thing that I've heard is Ed Rogers lives in Florida. He's best friends with Trump, so I don't expect him to stand up for Canada, is what I would say there. Fiercely saying this, Scotty playing with 5 fouls definitely hindered the involvement and intensity in the last quarters. Yep, that's very by design. And chopping off the very powerful, most important weapon on the Raptors side, foul trouble. 5 fouls in the third quarter. Yeah, that'll change the game for the rest of the game. Scotty can't go all out because he's watching out. Exactly. Yeah, Stargate liked your call earlier. Yeah, I enjoyed the WNBA talk with Fiercey. KT saying, honestly, that Harden trying to sell a foul and knocking Darko down made me so pissed. I want Ty Domi, Bob Probert, or Donald Brashear on this team. We just got to team them hard how to shoot. Bro, why do you bring up hockey people when we've got RJ Barrett? We don't need any of those people. We got RJ Barrett. And honestly, that I think it was a mistake, even though it looked ugly. And either way, Darko's a strong guy. It didn't hurt him. He didn't sell it. And James showed proper respect as far as, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to run over you. Either way, I know you guys got pissed about it. There was a lot of dumb stuff in that game. That headbutt was worse to me. That headbutt was really bad. Bryce is saying, good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. God bless all of you. Amazing season this year. I think we have an interesting summer coming up. Yeah. Bless you also, Bryce, you and your fiance, and just your love, your young life that you guys are starting together. And yeah, this has been a great year. Stargate saying, I was listening to ESPN radio yesterday morning, coming home from work, and one of the guys was saying Raptors didn't deserve to even be 5th in the East. Bozos. Well, they didn't watch us. Honestly, I really don't know how some of these guys have jobs in sports media. Well, some of it's engagement, like Stephen A. Smith is the lightning rod of. That's why I said we don't need that guy. I mean, we did have a Stephen A. Smith. His name was Don Cherry. Stargate saying this, Brandon needs to work with a person like Rip Hamilton in the offseason, or even Reggie. Teach him how to run off of screens or off ball. Reggie Miller? Is that who you're saying? Reggie? You mean Smooth Brown Man? Full name answers. Let's see. I was fiercely saying thank you. Lex always pushing back on Blackhawk. You know, Neil and I have a weird relationship and friendship, but I love Neil. Neil's such a dedicated guy. He shows up to so many events that we do. And I see Neil more than all y'all because he's around me in person more often because he comes to almost all the events we do. And man, he's just awesome. In some ways, our personalities don't totally mesh. And in some ways, I appreciate him allowing me to be myself. And in some ways, I need to do a better job of allowing him to be his self, is what I've decided. And I'm not perfect on that. And in some ways, I'm glad that he doesn't take things personally from me when I'm dismissive or not totally with what he's saying. And in some ways that I appreciate that because I know I can turn people off just from being a jerk. And in some ways, Neil's been like, Lex, I know you. We'd like to have conversations. In some ways, we have conflict with what we're talking about, and that's fine. And he has no problem with it. I mean, I've been around him in person, so I understand the energy. And in some ways, maybe partly because of having a friendship with him and around him in person, I may be just like with Naco the Nacho. I may be a little bit more tougher with them because I do know them in person and I've been around them a lot. Like I've been unfair to Naco at times and I felt bad, but that's partly because I know Naco and I know that he's a really dear friend to me. And that's why I love him so much and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah. He's not dumping on Mamu. I don't know. I think that the whole thing is like, there's no reason to say anything negative about any of our players today. That's basically what I say. I just carte blanche say nothing negative about Jakob, nothing negative about Brandon, nothing negative about Sandro, and nothing negative about Darko either. I just feel like they should gracefully be able to end this season, and the criticisms and the things that people have to say, just keep it to yourself, you know. And it's not really that he was criticizing Mamu. It's just that I'm like, man, you can't really gauge some of the stuff that you're saying about Mamu because he had a much shorter time period on the court during the playoffs than the regular season. And that's the difference. That's my point was, you know. Yeah. Seymour says he likes these call-ins. I do. I like the call-ins too. And I appreciate y'all calling in, man. It's very vibrant calls today. Very, very good. Kareem's saying, I don't like Strus, but he did what he needed to do. He got under their skin. Scotty didn't take the bait. Think about this. How could he have reacted to that? He could have gotten pissed and swung on him for that. But no, he was disciplined and he didn't make a molehill into a mountain because he reacted. Think about it from that perspective. You know, James Harden running into Darko. Darko didn't overreact, get crazy. None of the players got overreact and got crazy. No technicals were assessed and extra points were given to Cavs. So that's part of the testing. That's when Dennis gets in RJ's face. He's trying to get on their skin. And you're going to say that he tried to get on our skin? None of those guys were successful in doing it. They tried, but they didn't. And even at the end, when RJ got in Jared Allen's face for throwing Jacoby to the ground, that's not really getting under our skin. That's RJ standing on business to say, no, this is the line and we're not doing this. Yeah. And they towed that line very well. And trust me, there was a lot of baiting to get them and their emotions and getting off track. And they did not take that bait. In some ways, I'm proud of the Raptors for showing the mental mettle to go through that kind of bullshit and not do stupid shit because of like this or that. You know what I'm saying? They could have been immature and taken the bait as a young core. And it could have been a whole lot worse, the reactions and the things that happened, but they didn't. Scotty got headbutted. He didn't even act like he got hit, but he did. And Zach Zarba saw it. And it was dirty as fuck. So, you know, that's what I would say to that right there. That's what I say right there. Seymour saying Strus stealing the ball from Scotty is a head scratcher for me. It's weird. Well, like I said, a broken clock is right 2 times a day. Scotty can't always be perfect all the time. And just because Scotty's a certain stature and Strus is a certain kind of player, a role player, doesn't mean he's exempt from getting the balls taken from him if he's not looking at the wrong time, you know? So you can't really look at that. And in some cases, like, look, that's an anomaly. That's an anomaly, if you ask me. And Wade shouldn't be able to lock up BI. Well, I would agree with that. Brandon should be able to beat whoever is on him. And Dean Wade shouldn't be able to shut him down. You're right on that. They should have figured out better ways to get around him. Seymour saying Cavs wanted more. That's all. Raps are not hungry enough. That's bullshit. I don't believe that. We wanted it more. The refs held their hands. The association held their hands. And they did dirty, too, to get to what they got. We were playing harder than them. We wanted it more. We were more all out. We were the harder working team. This is not true when you say this, Seymour. Kenny saying this, successful season. I feel good. Replace Yak and BI and we can be better. Okay, Kenny, original Raptor freak, saying that. I don't totally agree with him. Seymour saying throw IQ in that as well. I don't agree with that either. And that's why I say, just like Stargate said earlier, I'm not about the trade talk. I'm not about trade machines. I'm not about us thinking we know what to do for the team, for GMing. And I am not throwing any of our members under the bus because Rowan Barrett Sr. is listening, and so are the parents and the families of these players and even the players themselves. And why do y'all want to stab people in the back when you have no opportunity to make this happen because you're not in job to do this? You just sound like turncoats and Benedict Arnolds that you want to trade Jakob and them out. That's what I've learned from saying that about Brandon recently is Brandon fans come in here and say, you're stabbing Brandon in the back. He gave you a ticket to go to the game this year. And now you're turning around and saying the Raptors should trade him. I learned a lesson from that. And in some ways, even if I think that it may be smart to trade Brandon to switch him out and get a different superstar and that money level and the salary cap to improve us, in some ways, we don't need to say this out loud. And it's not being a dictator. It's just being that, like, look, the Raptors have feelings. They're human beings. And honestly, it was so depressing and sad to me to hear the story of Rowan Barrett Sr. saying, what is it that my son has to do to be okay with you people? Seriously, that's the energy that's got me saying, pause, hold your trade requests and your trade ideas, and stop selling out our guys and stabbing them in the back. It's not our job, so we have no reason to whine and talk about it. So let Bobby do his job. If these roads come to pass, we'll cross those roads then. But right now, it's like we shouldn't be lobbying for it. We shouldn't be suggesting it. We shouldn't be talking about it. And it's not a dictatorship. It's, to me, being a positive fan and not stabbing your guys in the back. It's the same as Darko not getting in front of the mic after the game and throwing his players on the bus for failing. This is what I'm saying here, guys. That may be the different levels of Raptor freak. You can be a Raptors fan and talk about trade talks all you want. I'm not a dictatorship. Go ahead. But if you want to be a true Raptors freak, a really strong, positive Raptors freak in the likeness that I've created with this channel and what we're talking about, trade talk and selling out your players and saying we could trade IQ this summer and do this. I'm not with that. And I don't think that real Raptor freak levels, if you're like really bona fide, true Raptor freak, you don't do that. You just don't do this kind of shit, guys. Even if it's in the good place in your heart because you just want the team to be better and you want them to be more successful, that's still selling you guys out and stabbing them in the back. And that's why I think that in some ways you can see it as controlling, but I see it as, let's not dare to say things that do not need to be said. That's what I would say. That's the way I look at it right there. Yeah. Good calls, good calls, good points. I love it. The Leafs could have waited till today to announce it. That's right. It's not classy. There's a lot of people that don't have no class around the world. Ohio people, USA people, MLSE people. There's a lot of people that got no class because they got no manners and they're just not classy people. Trust me, they are not. That's right. Let's see. Sid Sixero is the Canadian Stephen A. Smith. Hey, maybe this is about media control. That's true. I'm sarcastic about the States. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely narratives and perceptions and trying to control minds through the media. And the narrative about the Raptors and the truth about the Raptors is part of that manipulation. If you can see for yourself, you'll see right through it. That's what I would say. Neil saying we have two playing styles, one ISO with Brandon and two fast pace without Brandon. We are down a lot to conform with. We have done a lot to conform with Brandon instead of BI conforming to the team. It's like when we had Kawhi. That's true. In some ways, maybe Brandon should try and do things to fit in more with us instead of us catering to him so much. And this offseason, well, who knows? Maybe he'll switch his game around or there'll be new systems or something like that. Some ways this was orientation year, and let's see what Brandon can do for us. And well, we saw a lot of good things, if not full integration into our system in the kind of way that we would like at the optimal level. You know what I'm saying? We can figure this out. Neil's saying this. Blackhawk's saying trades are Bobby's problem. I don't do trades because I don't know behind the scenes with the front office. Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. And once again, we finally got that maxi point guard. We finally got that center to deal with Embiid. And people are so quick to want to trade these guys out of here. It's just not right. I'm telling you, we need these guys because 3 or 4 years ago, y'all were whining and complaining that we needed them. And now we got them, and now y'all don't want them. You want to trade them out. It's like crazy. It's so crazy. It's stupid. Let's see. Neil saying if Rodgers is so jealous of the Raptors, then he sold, sell it. You can't be jealous of what you actually own. And it's not that he's jealous of the Raptors. It's just that they want to have supremacy. And some of it's white supremacy is that hockey needs to be more important in Canada than basketball, even though basketball is overwhelmingly popular and growing, and it's threatening the popularity of hockey. The powers that be from the within MLSE will structure it in the priorities that the Leafs are number one. They always will be. And we will orient everything around our entire company to show their preeminence over the Toronto Raptors. That's what this is. And in some ways, their choice to announce that front office move before our game yesterday is reinforcing what I just said. That's what it is right there. It's not that he doesn't want to make money off the Raptors. It's not that he doesn't want to have the Raptors and control them. It's that he wants to make sure the hierarchy is very clear, which ones are the priorities and which ones are higher. And you can see it in a lot of their marketing. They may put the logos of all the teams in a certain order. And it's very much subliminal ways of trying to tell you these are the ones, this is what the importance should be. And quite often, Leafs are number one, Jays are number two, and the Raptors could be number three, but sometimes the Argos are number three. That's the crazy thing with it right there. That's right. Neil's saying, don't worry about the contracts because the expansion draft will fix our roster. Yeah, but the expansion draft isn't for 2 summers from now. It won't even be next summer. The expansion draft will be in 2028. So it's like, why are you waiting for something 2 years from now in some ways? BI helped us to get the playoffs. We are going to need that contribution next season, which is the first hurdle to the playoffs. I know everybody thinks because something ain't exactly right in the present that you just toss it away. No, there were reasons why we got to the place that we did, and Brandon's contribution to what we did is absolutely essential. That's absolutely true. Fiercely saying that Mavs just hired Masai. Yeah, that's crazy. I can't believe that either. Yeah, thanks, Ed. You shit. Yeah. And listen, I don't think he's going to be successful there, though, guys. I think that the toxicness of the ownership and the way they act is not going to be enough. There's not going to be enough Masai charisma and power in that. See, the other thing is they'll never let Masai run that team by himself. That was the difference. MLSE and Tannenbaum allowed Masai to run that team by himself here in Toronto. They're not going to let him do that in Dallas. And I'll tie his hands up. It'll be more similar to how when he worked in Denver than in Toronto, because he's not the end-all be-all end of the buck. And Patrick Dumont will be telling him what he's supposed to do, and he won't get to make all the decisions himself. So that's going to be the difference right there. Yeah, that's going to be the difference right there. Fiercely saying it's on Shams. Why, Masai? Why working for them? I know. I'm very disappointed in you, Jerry. He's going to go work for a woman. When she profits the money, she uses the money to buy bombs to bomb children and old people in Gaza. So, Masai, you should be ashamed of yourself, man. Seriously. Yeah, Cool Cat's saying Masai's now the president of the Mavericks and alternate governor. They said he's the lead executive official. Well, you're saying he's the alternate governor. So that means he's going to be the person if Patrick Dumont is not the governor for them. When Patrick Dumont is the governor. So once again, you're going to see the conflict of interest right there. You're going to see it right there. G saying being in America, he will be able to get players so much easier now. Shaking my head. Why did MLSE do this? Listen, let's not go back and worry about all this. He's not going to have an easier time. Trust me. Because first of all, the Mavs are all messed up. And why are you speaking good things to this? Once again, it's going to be a fail. Trust me. It's going to look like Michael Jordan in a Washington Wizards jersey. There may be some successful things that happen with Masai and Dallas, but they're not going to get the ultimate success. Because once again, God hates the Mavericks. Because God hates Adelson. God hates genocide. God hates Israel bombing the Palestinians. And Dallas Mavericks, that's where everything starts, is from the top, and that's the whole energy around their team. And God hates that. God will punish the Mavericks over and over again, just like they did this year, even though they had Cooper Flag. So it's sad for the fans. I feel bad for them. I feel bad for Mark Cuban because he did recently try to reacquire the team from them. They're not going to try and sell it back to him. He did try and do that. And well, shame on Masai for helping a money machine make more money for bombs to bomb babies over there. In some ways, the Giants of Africa stuff looks really bad coming from Dallas Mavericks. Seriously. And I would also question, is Adelson going to allow you to do Giants of Africa there, Masai? Is that even in the contract? No, I'll bet you it isn't. I'll bet you will not see any Giants of Africa crossover with the Mavericks. If you do, I'll be shocked, honestly, because that's not the energy the ownership comes with. Seriously. They're not for Africa. They're for a Zionist global expansion across the Muslim world and just pillaging and piracy and just running over people and genocide and taking their lives and their houses and everything from them. So Masai, shame on you, man. All the work that you've done for women in Africa and helping them with sexual abuse and genocide and things there. And you're going to go work for a genocide machine. Like, what the fuck, man? This is a conflict of interest. And in some ways, I'm looking at Masai selling out to this God money. That's sad, man. That's sad when your heroes do something that's tacky and really bad. You sold out for the money, didn't you, Masai? That's sad, man. I'm losing a lot of respect for you today. Really, really a lot of respect for you. Neil saying just means they want picks like Scotty and Colin is why they got Masai. No, they want to try and get a winner. That's why anybody wanted Masai. In some ways, it's not necessarily about Masai being the GM. It's about the energy. It's about the culture. Some people question why Masai was even on our team. Well, you don't understand We the North. You don't understand what we built here. You don't understand the Raptors have a culture because of Masai Ujiri. It wasn't necessarily about running the team like Bobby. No, it was about building the brand, building it attractively so that it becomes extremely wealthy and valuable, because that's what he did. Masai Ujiri took the Raptors brand and turned it into $1 billion huge thing. And that's his job. Some people are saying, well, it was redundant to have Webster and Ujiri. Bullshit, because they're in different departments and they did totally different things. And we lack the things that Masai used to do for us at this point with Ed Rogers and Keith Pelly and just Bobby as a GM. And well, I don't know if Masai's going to be able to do the culture thing there. How do you build culture like you did in Toronto when you're in the middle of a shitty ass red state with a genocidal owner and you have a franchise that's been gutted in stupid ways because the NBA mandated that they had to trade Luka Doncic to the Lakers? You know, it's a mess. And like I said, I'm calling it right now. This is basically going to be Masai's Washington Wizards Michael Jordan era is coming up right now. He's not the president of the Mavericks even. He's not the president. He's the lead executive. The president is Patrick Dumont. And there's too many cooks in the kitchen. Masai won't be able to cook the way he cooked in Toronto because too many people are going to be telling him the recipe. That's going to be the problem right there. Kaz is saying, are you kidding me? Wow. It is a shock. And, you know, in some ways we're reeling. That's a ridiculous. What a joke. Yeah, Fiercely saying alternate governor. So I assume he may have same authority as Dumont. It means he's the second in command after him as far as with the NBA and representing them at the head office. That's all. The governor of each team goes to the owners meeting and sits in the room with the owners. Larry Tannenbaum's the head governor of the whole league. He still is. At least he was last time I checked. He may be not anymore because he's retiring now. But, you know, these governors come to meet, and Patrick Dumont is the real governor of the team. And just in case he can't do his duties, well, he's the alternate governor is what Masai is. That's the delineation there. That's the delineation there. Shaq Lindsay's saying, think about it. Yak's contract is good because it doesn't balloon until his last 2 years. Now think about it. Isn't it easier to trade a larger number than a smaller contract to get a valuable player? That's really smart right there. Shaq Lindsay's getting a dunk because he's exactly right with that. He's exactly right with that energy and saying that. You're exactly right. Let me give you a dunk. Let's see. That's 39 on the dunk list. All right. Let's see. Keep going, man. Lexathon and a half. It's the last game of the season. We got to do this. Smooth saying this. Well, he wanted to be back in the NBA and had to wait until his contract with the Raptors was officially off the books. Yeah, it really smacks of that, considering we finished last night and the very next day he signed the contract when he legally could. So maybe it was true. He would have taken a job immediately if he could have, but the Raptors were paying him not to work this past season. What wasted money, Ed Rogers. What wasted money. Yeah. Shaq Lindsay saying most seasoned players have good contracts in the league. Because of the luxury tax constrictions, it's harder to combine contracts to get a player. It's always good to have one big contract like Yak to trade in his last few years. Well, let's see how Yak's health is in the next couple of years. And maybe, shockingly, maybe Yak is actually physically healthy, fine, and he's actually an asset that we want to keep for that rate, too. That could also be an outcome that happens coming up, guys. Reggie's saying, I thought Ujiri was involved with the tempo. Does his job with the Mavs expect that? Well, the thing is, with the tempo, he's a principal owner. He's not in the actual front office. So he can be in Dallas running things for Dallas and just collecting like ownership stuff from tempo from far away. So, yeah, he's in the branding for the tempo. And maybe he'll get his social justice kick through the tempo and not through the Mavericks. Because I don't see it with the Mavericks. He's not going to be able to do Giants of Africa and stuff like that. If he does, I'll be shocked that Adelson allowed him to do that. Seriously. because she's not like that. She's a genocidal person. I don't get this, man. You're against genocide. You've done all these programs for Giants of Africa. You're against genocide. And now you're going to work for Mrs. Genocide. It's crazy, Masai. I don't get this, man. I don't get this at all, man. Yeah, let's see. Shaq Lindsay saying, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying trade Yak now. I'm saying when they are going to make that leap, maybe in the next few years, there's options. Remember, our roster is young and the talent is there. Give it time. I agree with you. Stargate saying, yeah, go over the Raptors Digest if you want the trade talk thing. Yeah, there you go. That's a good suggestion. Dallas fans are very excited. Well, they need something to feel good about, don't they? They've been pretty depressed since that Luka trade and all the misery that they have. Stargate saying Dallas is just setting up for that move to Las Vegas. I don't know if that's true. They do want to do that. They really do. But I don't know if they'll be successful. And that could be the long-term goal of Ujiri is like, I'm not going to be in Texas for long because we're actually going to be in Nevada soon. Smooth saying, very, very interested to hear Masai's reasoning for going there. Me too. Seriously, it's not really with his brand. I'm not going to lie. Let's see. Neil saying, Rodgers' objective should be to get asses in the seats. Raptors and Leafs don't occupy the building at the same time. It's bad business to prioritize Leafs over Raptors. Honestly, it's white supremacy and security, like a lot of the energy around the White House and USA right now. It's white people that have been told they're going to be replaced and they're scared. And they're like, oh, these illegals come here to take our jobs. They're trying to replacement theory bullshit. This is what this is. You know, up here in Canada, there's the same stuff. Traditional white Canadians are like, Canada, beer, hockey. What are all these immigrants doing here? They're taking our jobs. They're ruining our country. And they like basketball. You know, it's a lot of this kind of energy. So it's some of the ways this is all driven by white supremacy and just keeping a hierarchy in society of perception that white people are more important than people of color. That's part of this whole thing with the Raptors and the Leafs. That's really what it is. If you really want to get down to it, seriously. And that's in some ways, like I said, it shows that in some ways there's a worry, you know, that Jurassic Park is Jurassic Park way before anybody went out there for the Leafs. So they got to rename the whole square and put it up on a sign and put a bunch of Leaf statues out there, Maple Leaf Square, because they're threatened by the passionate grassroots movement of the Raptors nation and what they created, you know, down there. No, we got to piggyback off it. We got to steal it. And then we're going to mutate it into a corporate bullshit thing called a tailgate party and Keith Pelly's brainstorm. You know what I'm saying? Stargate saying BI is essential. He just needs to tweak his skill set more off the ball scoring. We'll just have to see the difference. He is in the long-term plans. We do expect Brandon to be on our team next year and helping our team in a new level of things and connection. Neil saying Mavs hired Masai to poach resources from the Raptors. I don't think it's specifically to poach from us. I don't think that's true. And also, once again, Masai has an affinity for us. If he's going to say, I believe the Raptors are going to win in the future, whether I'm here or not, why would he poach our team if he wants us to win again? Because in some ways, if we win again, he looks good for it, right? So this doesn't make any sense. He's not going to target us. He's going to do his job within the league. And, well, hopefully there's no detriments towards his former team is what I would say. Smooth saying, why not go work for the Lakers? Why the Mavs? Yeah, I'm wondering about that too. I think it may be some sort of power play. Like in some ways, it's like bow down to me. I'm the dark mistress of genocide, and you're such a beacon of social justice and progressiveness. Well, let's just show how dark this world is. Come to me, Mr. Masai, and bow to the genocide owner. You know, could it be something dark and sinister like that? And sadly, Masai lives in a capitalist world where God money rules his world too, because he's in that class of making that kind of money, and he has been for a bit. And in some ways, the social justice posturing and all that stuff and the image that he's created has nothing to do with who he is really inside. And that it always was just about making millions and millions of dollars for the Ujiri family and not ever about the social justice message that he promoted the years in We the North. I can question this, Masai, because of your decision today. I really can. And you could think I'm stabbing you in the back, but I think you're stabbing us in the back by surrendering your morals and your stances societally and politically to go and work for a genocidal bitch. I would say that. Seriously, I would say that, right? You could have gone to Lakers. I would have respected you more. Seriously. I thought that was the job that you would likely take because Walter's owner now, and he spent a lot of money to help the Dodgers. And why wouldn't it seems like the Lakers would offer you the most money to come and work for them, Masai, because they could use your help, right? But no, Rob Pelinka's doing a good job. They don't no there's no vacancy for the position here like there is in Dallas. That's what this is. Adam Silver come to Masai and say, Masai, I really screwed up with the Luka trade and making them trade Luka. Mavericks are not doing well. Can you save them? Can you do me a favor? You know, is this what's happening here? Adam Silver personally asked Masai to go and help the Mavericks. That could be it. That could be it. Can Cuban make a bid for the Raptors, please? I would love that. That would be fun. I don't know if he'd have the same heart for us as the Mavericks. In some ways, he's once your heart is with something, it's always with that person. And that's why I question what's happening with Masai right now, because his heart's with us. This is kind of weird, man. Stargate saying they're using Masai's optics, nothing more, nothing less. It's a PR move. Yeah, I don't know if they'll actually get any substance from his too either. I don't know. We'll just have to see. Once again, we're a reaction channel. We're going to see what happens and we'll react to it. And today we're reacting to the news about Masai Ujiri. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, in some ways, I'm not upset about this. Masai is right to do whatever he is. I'm disappointed in him. And I do knock him down a few pegs for respecting him. That's for sure. Kaz is saying a news conference with Mavericks governor Patrick Dumont and Ujiri is scheduled for Tuesday. Shams has said that. Okay. Let's see. Stargate saying any contract talk in Raptor Freak family I only listen to is logical. He knows that shit intricately, and he hasn't been wrong so far. Yeah, a lot of the bluster about worries about salary cap and not being able to pay people is absolutely bluster and is absolutely hot air. And some of it is content farming engagement from the media because they want you to be scared and they want you to click on their articles and listen to their interviews. They're absolutely gaslighting because honestly, Bobby's a really good general manager. He's got it all under control and he understands exactly what he's doing with our salary cap. So any kind of consternation or worry or, pressure or stress that's coming from the media to tell us to be stressed about it, we need to disregard it and say, y'all are full of shit. You're crying wolf like the boy who cried wolf. And honestly, I trust my GM, Bobby Webster, because he's a salary cap genius and he's not running this ship rudderless. I mean, seriously, what is this? It's crazy. Yeah, G saying, cheap ass Rogers. I want to be happy for Masai, but I'm not right now. I'm not happy for him. I think it's a mistake. And I feel like he really made a bad mistake today. Yeah, Kaz is saying, yeah, I can't get behind Masai in Dallas. I'm sorry, man. Yeah, Dallas is one of the worst teams. And in some ways, Dallas flipped from one of the best ownership groups to the worst ownership group in the whole league. Like Mark Cuban, to me, was the epitome of what all owners should be like. And sad that he sold the team. I don't understand why he did that. I bet you he thinks that's the biggest mistake he's ever made in his entire life is selling the Dallas Mavericks to the Adelsons. I'll bet you he believes that. I bet you he really thinks that at this point. I really do. I bet you he does. Yeah, that tailgate crap is BS. It will always be Jurassic Park. That's right. And they can put the bleachers up and keep people out from watching it organically. But the real Jurassic Park happened in 2014, 2015. And it was just fans who showed up there, and MLC had nothing to do with it because I was one of them. I came down there myself. James is saying Masai chasing that money. And sadly, it does seem like that. It really does. Kaz is saying he couldn't have signed with any other team. I know. A Lakers move, I understand. But this, I know. Even the Clippers, but this? No. I know. Dallas, it don't make no sense. And Neil saying, remember, Ed Rogers tried to screw Masai. This is Masai saying, you can't hold me back. The genocide bitch had to capitulate to get him. I'm just shook by this. I'll stop. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how this all sussed out or came to be like this. I really do feel like a puppet master is named Adam Silver. And in some ways, if the money's really, really good and Adam asked Masai Ujiri to do this, well, he's just being a company man for the NBA, I think. In some ways, that may be part of it too. Yeah, Fiercely saying, Lex, a few weeks ago, I read Cuban was trying to regain ownership. Yeah, I just said that earlier. No, he said he wanted to say, would you resell the team back to me? And they're like, hell no, we're not doing this. They don't want to do that. So he tried. He has no chance. He should have never sold it to them in the first place. I don't understand why he sold it to them in the first place. That didn't make no sense to me at all. All right, let's do the classic card. Let's get out of here. Season's over. We got to get the stream over too. That's right. Is this easy? I just want an easy card. Yeah, it's an old Trailblazer once again. It seems like it's always an old Trailblazer. Let's see if you guys know this one. Classic card of the day. Full name answer. This one's hard. In some ways, I will give you clues. If you guess a couple times, I'll give you the clues. So give me a couple of guesses, and then I'll give you the clues. There's Horace Grant behind him. That gives you a time frame right there, number 54. Wayne Cooper is right. Reggie got it. That's awesome. I'm glad we didn't have to struggle with that. It is Wayne Cooper. Let me see. I'll show the card just to make sure you guys see it's for real. Wayne Cooper, longtime vet in the league at this point. He's on Trailblazers. He played for a lot of different teams. But yeah, it's Wayne Cooper is the answer, Stargate. And we're going to give it to Smooth Brown Man. And it's going to be 100. Actually, I'll give you 200 for this one. This guy was not a totally mainstream player. So Wayne Cooper is the card, and it's Smooth that got it today. 200 points to Smooth for Wayne Cooper on the classic card. All right, as I said yesterday, we're going to do trivia tomorrow since the season's over. I would have loved to be doing a preview of game 1 of the second round for the Raptors against the Pistons, but that's not the case. So 9:30 tomorrow morning, Raptor Freak Tuesday trivia will be back. And, well, Adriana's going to help me write it again today. So Commissioner Trivia, Adriana and I are going to get some good questions for y'all for tomorrow's trivia game at 9:30. So I hope you'll join us then. Yeah. All right, guys. Yeah, first time after a while. Good job, Reg. We're proud of you. And Isaac, thank you for putting the starting lineup of Lex out there on blast. That's right. Thank you, everybody. We love the Raptors. That's why we do this show every day. And we're passionate for them. We're positive for them. And we want the best things to happen for them. That's why we try to speak into existence the best things happening for them. And, well, we had a pretty good year, a very successful year, all above expectations. And we should have our heads held up high. You know, our coach ain't getting fired today. Nope, that's not going to happen. Nope, not like Orlando. And, you know, our fan nation's not reeling like the little green man nation's been reeling the last couple of days. No, it's not happening either. We're very proud. We have something to build off of. And the next few seasons, the seasons coming up for the Raptors are very, very bright that we got to put on those shades. So I'll say that, you know, hold your head up high, be proud of the season, celebrate the season, and let's be so happy for them. That's right. Sorry, saying Masai probably told Silvery he'll do it if they'll be more fair to the Raptors. I hope he said that. That'd be nice. He may not have said that. So let's see if the whistle's better next year. Hopefully Scotty gets a better whistle just because he's a bigger superstar. W Stream, W Community, I appreciate you. W Season, that's right. Thanks for a memorable season, y'all. Yeah, it's been a long ride, guys, and I appreciate everybody. Now it's time to go with this team now, the tempo. So my 3 stars of the game, in the last game of the season for the Raptors in the postseason, Game 7, Scotty Barnes, Jakob Poeltl, and RJ Barrett. You can look forward to content in the weeks to come. Me with my end of the season grand total of the ref report. I'll be doing ref awards, the worst ref, the best ref, and telling you the report of how they did this year for us overall. I'll also be accumulating my stars of the game. So I can tell you the hierarchy of the stars for the team over the whole course of the season and each part of the season, summer league, preseason, regular season, postseason. So look forward to that report also coming up in the weeks to come in the off season. Well, the WNBA season now. And, well, we're going to do previews and reactions for all the WNBA games for the Toronto Tempo, and starting on Friday against the Mystics here in Toronto at Coca-Cola Coliseum. I'll have the preview on Friday morning at 9:30. So we have work to do this whole summer. All right. I love you guys. And thank you for watching the Raptor Freak channel and supporting this channel. Subscribe if you haven't already, and click like, write a comment, share it with some people if you know that they're big time Raptors fans too, and they would find some use from watching this channel also. All right. Much love in all kinds of ways. I'm very confused, Masai. This doesn't make any sense what you did today, but we'll just have to see how it all goes. I can't control that he did this. In some ways, it's sad and pathetic in some ways, but it is what it is. What can we do? We can only go forward with what we can control, and understanding what we can and can't control is one of the most powerful things you can have in your life. That may be the general theme of what's going on here. That's right. That's right. All right. And I love the Darko on blast too. Let's go tempo. It's time for tempo time. But yeah, let's go Raptors. I love you guys. Congratulations on your great season. I look forward to seeing you guys next year for the next year and the growth that you guys have from the off season.
And I believe in you guys. I know you're coming to get that second Larry O'Brien and a championship ring, Scotty and Colin and RJ. Let's go. I love you guys. Let's go.